Hello, everyone. Welcome on this lovely Saturday. I'm gonna zoom out this a bit more. How are you today, Drake? How have you been?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Last night I finally got 8 hours of sleep straight through. Well, okay, one interruption to go to the bathroom, but like at this age, that's a good number.
Could I change my outfit? You mean you want this one? And this? Sure. Excited to see how the isekai class works in this game. It's not you're a race if you're isekai. I have to tell you. Okay, so let's jump right in. Do we have any news? Do you have news is it so important?
No, I don't really think so. Aside from the one generative AI article that I had linked.
Yeah, guys. Some big wicked wizard says, "Oh, we are all using AI for games. You should do it too." Yeah, they are desperate for someone to actually care about AI, and no one. I don't think very many people do.
Oh, specifically, that was the Hasbro CEO.
Hasbro CEO, great, yeah, awesome. Yeah. I don't believe him that he plays TTRPGs at all. If it's the Hasbro CEO.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it either.
Imagine a bunch of CEOs playing TTRPGs. I can't even. Good news, me and my cool are playing Warhammer 40. Nice. Good, fun, Kate. And hi, Killian, and Kotsonia, and Waggles, of course. Hi.
Greetings.
Yeah, I don't want to do another Wizards and Hasbro bad rant, but you know my stance at this point. Yes, hi, Sanad.
Welcome, subject. Welcome.
Thanks for turning the redeems off yesterday. So today we are doing break ! RPG.
Yep.
The immediate vibe from this to me was positive because the art is interesting. Looks feels a bit like Studio Ghibli kind of thing.
Yep.
Like with the very sweeping landscape with the green fields and meadows and the hills in the back, blue sky, and then a bunch of whimsy characters standing around. Mm-hmm. That's just
the critters, very Ghibli.
Yeah, I would say that's the impression of the cover. So. And let's jump in. So we have a chunky book of 400 pages here, 460 pages.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty expansive with an a table of contents. Mm-hmm. Notably absent is like a credits page. Like, is that at the back? We don't know. We are not sure.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Like, did they just not credit themselves at all in the book? Actually, we're going to check the very back of it real quick.
Yeah, it's the very, very back. It's the very last page.
There they are. So, writing and rules, Reynaldo Madrinan. Editing, design, and art, Carlo Tartaglia, Grey Wizard Press. So, legitimately, 2 people did this, and the additional editor, and that's it. That's crazy. This book, it's a Kickstarter, by the way. Let's find that real quick. Let's see. This book made £500,000, so about $600,000 and euros. That's a good salary for 2 people and an editor. Was it that wanted to see this TTT that also print Blake? I think it's me who gave us the book to review.
Yeah, it was me, Hifu.
Yeah. And then we have we have some special thanks of some playtesters and emotional supports for Ray and so on and so forth. It is interesting to if What if we had a nickel for every time we review a game about Japanese TTRPG, JRPG stuff that's written by Italians? Like
it's like every single time now.
We'd only have 2 nickels, but it's still weird that it happened twice.
Yeah, the Italians really like their JRPGs. I'm not sure what it is.
Apparently. Yeah, the link to the bingo is up from Drake. Yeah, I should make a command for my bot for that.
Yeah, I should do the same thing. If you're getting to.
I do like there's so much art in this. It is fair to say that this is the most art I've ever seen in a book that we have reviewed.
Yep. And also this is the most unified art direction we've ever seen in a book.
Almost like one guy drew all of it, which he did from the credits. So good job. Like the art style is something we'll talk about, but definitely very, 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 very consistent art in here, and lots of it, which also means that the 460 pages here, honestly, 150 pages of that is art.
So there's a lot of dead space too.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of dead space, that is true. I think that we can say it's like 260, 270 to, I don't know, something like that, pages of actual rules. Yeah. And font size in it is not huge, it's not small either. So I'm not sure if this came out. Is this an A4 or an A5 book? It wouldn't be surprised if this was A5. Like, smaller book. Oh yeah, you can see here, if you get the physical copy, we have nice binding. Very nice looking book
super
overall.
Nice binding. Oof.
Like
that's textbook quality right there, actually.
Yeah, definitely got a good quality product there. Do they tell us A4, A5 size? It's digest size, so it's easy to transport. So it is a smaller book, explaining the font size as well. So this is less chunky than you think at first spell. Let's make it clear.
Yeah. I do have an opinion actually about this. The move to digest sizes, I'm finding to be actually a really good thing.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that, like, the average book bag, I remember way back in the day, especially for 3rd edition, it was just like, I felt like I was looking around crazy amounts of books, but they felt like they were cumbersome. Whereas in the case of like a digest size, there's so many different things that you can pop that in. You don't need a laptop-sized bag every time.
Yes. Like, hi Kitsune Fox. So, again, that's like, so this would be, it's not fully A5, it's something in between, but it's smaller, who cares? So, this adventure will journey across shattered landscapes, explore the world's ancient ruins, and wonder at wonders of the modern age. Encounter and interact with other worlds, many unusual, with outer worlds, many unusual inhabitants. Negotiate or fight with monstrous or cunning adversaries. Survive and endure outer worlds, many perils and challenges. Craft items, both magical and mechanical. Create social bonds with the friends you met along the way. Attempt to rise through the adventuring ranks to become a legend and experience the wonder, humor, tragedy, and triumph of adventuring. So, very goal-wise, mostly traditional. We have like all the markings of that. With there's a bit of a hint there that the world in the setting in this is, there was a modern civilization and it has gone away.
Yep.
And there's ruins around you can explore. And the inspirations, let's look at that. Because there's many of them, and I'm very, like, some of them just don't work together, in my opinion. Video games, Godslayer, Crystalis, I don't know how to say it, Saga, Nier, the Mana series, Final Fantasy series, and Zelda series. I guess this is for visual reference. And sometimes play. Animation, Studio Ghibli, Berserk. Like, there's already, like, Studio Ghibli and Berserk mentioned back to back is an interesting one.
That's a choice.
Yeah, sure, they're both high quality manga, but I don't think many people get their arms chopped off in Studio Ghibli movies.
No, and if they do, that's like what the whole movie is about.
Yeah. Moribito, I've never heard of that. The Tower of Draga, that's a classic. The Ages of Uruk, Sword Art Online. You. The Last Unicorn, nice. Wizards and classic Disney. Is Wizards legitimately the fucking Wizards movie that you
Okay.
made me watch? What is...
Yep.
No.
That's exactly the one they're referencing.
No. Why could they do this to me? No, I will never be free from it. What the fuck?
Once you get through all this, I will explain what draws a lot of this together. Not all of it, because Teenagers from Outer Space doesn't fit this at all.
Yeah. The Once and Future King, the Sword Trilogy, and Earthsea series. That's fair enough. Stormbringer First Edition made Teenage Outer Space, old school hack. Like, imagine mentioning those back to back. Teenage Outer Space and old school hack, which is like OGL stuff. Which, hey, guys, by the way, this is an OGL game.
It is.
Like, to the bones. It's very interesting and very weird in that. We'll see. And the entire community of wonderfully talented and generous designers, artists into this in the blogosphere, just in general, or get inspiration mentioned. Interesting.
Well, okay. So what draws all this together? All these inspirations. If you scroll up slightly to like the things that you're going to expect from the setting, Journey Across Shattered Landscapes. The vast majority of things that they're referencing here do involve a shattered landscape of some kind or another. Not necessarily an apocalypse, but something. Everything from a lot of Studio Ghibli films feature, hey, we have this contrast of even for the little witch living in the big city where everything is very taxing and difficult because she's used to her little village, all the way to here's a castle in the sky. There's still this essence of things being out of sync with each other, being broken up in some way. Because, like, even the silly little witch film that I'm referencing here, even in that, there's this sort of feeling that it used to be very common to see witches like her everywhere, but now you don't. All of these little references we have here for animations and video games and literature, not necessarily apocalyptic events, but hey, stuff is not working right. Stuff is broken. Stuff needs to be fixed. We need adventurer to fix thing, but it is not Mad Max.
Definitely not. That would also be funny with this rule set.
Just puts in Mad Max in there.
So, and then they mention, what if you are Gronar? You already know RPGs. What does this bring to the table? Only uses D20, nothing else. Interesting. Aptitudes are not rolled randomly, but set by your calling, which is... we'll get to that, but I don't think that's a positive, really. Experience points are awarded for rank level advancements. I don't care. I've never cared about EXP with levels. We'll get to that too. Roll under aptitude checks, saving throws, and skill checks. Yes. You roll under your attribute because those go up. But you roll high to attack. Because you roll over. So this is old school D&D, you know?
Super old school.
Point crawl overland travel system. So they do have an overland travel and wilderness system, which puts this above 5e, 5.05 as well.
Yes.
Tactical turn-based combat, of course. Roll over enemy defense rating to hit. Okay. Weapons to set not random damage. Yes, we'll get to that for sure. Hearts, hit points resets every fight. Okay. Lasting injuries occur after your hearts are depleted and need to be healed. Scenario, not story-based adventures. I would say you can't really force that on a group. So I don't know what, but they want you to run this a certain way. That is for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I mean, encounters with mood roads, reaction roads, so it's really old school. I don't know why people like them. I don't understand why people like. Oh, there's a trader rolls dice. He hates you. Why did you? why did you like that?
I never understood that either. It just every time people bring that up, and I'm just why. Why do we? Why?
Like if the mood roll was literally, yeah, this guy is cranky, this guy is happy, this guy is crying, that would be interesting. But the mood roll is usually disposition based, which like, oh,
It's disposition. It's not mood. Yeah.
Yeah. Success is determined by the player's situational decision making and calculated risk. Not really, doesn't say anything. That's always true in these games. If it isn't true in these games, then this is not really a TTRPG in my book.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have like using the book, which is we're gonna read it. So yeah, fine. I don't know why the dice are here.
Yeah.
They sort of sent me because I thought these were page numbers. No, they are not. They're just there.
Yep.
And now the book will start with 200 pages of creating a character, not having explained its rules.
No explanation for rules.
This is not acceptable.
Nope.
I hate this kind of layout. At least give a basics explanation.
Yeah, because, okay, so here's the thing that is the big contrast about this. It's good that they provide the bullet points, but the problem is with providing the bullet points is you've got to explain your bullet points immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
In some regard.
Yeah.
If you're going to say, we roll under for this stuff, cool. Have the section about why that matters or something.
Why this was so weird is they have a game basics section. It's 5 pages long. Okay? You need players, you need a game master, you need an adventure, you need dice, 20-sided dice, pencil and paper, knowledge of the rules. Okay, cool. How do we play? There's session, adventures, and saga. A session is a single play session, and adventure is when you know what this is. It's fine. And then they explain like, oh, the game master explains like how you what you see, the players react, blah blah blah. And then they explain like they don't explain roles here, which is really here rolling dice. We get to it. Okay,
there,
right. I forgot. They explain like if situation time critical. You get to a like turn-based mode, which doesn't necessarily have to be in combat, but usually it's also in combat, of course. And in combat, the players take a turn, then the GM takes a turn of their guys, and then it rolls around normal. Which is like there's no initiative in this, which is honestly a good thing. Like the players decide amongst themselves who acts in what order, and then once everyone is active, the DM acts for their guys, and vice versa. This is all you need. Like initiative systems, the longer I've played games, are just a cumbersome extra step you have to worry about in most games. Okay, rolling dice. You're rolling under your attributes to succeed, and you might have bonuses to stuff. Contests. You're rolling against someone else, and you're both trying to roll under the target number. Whoever rolls better under the target number wins. But you are trying to roll under a target number, but higher than the characters you are competing against. That's a weird one, right? I forgot about this.
Yeah, that's weird, but that is a sign of something that is very much very old school.
Yes. So what this means to explain is, okay, we are both trying to pull on a rope, you against me. The DM sets a difficulty of 10. So, and we both have assumedly, no wait, it doesn't necessarily make sense if you set a 10. I think in this case, you would roll under your strength, your power in this game. Or was it called strength? I think it was strength.
God. I always forget because the names do not stick with me. The names you picked don't stick.
Let's say I have 9 and you have 10 strength.
Yeah.
So I roll an 8. So now you have to roll an 8 to tie with me, or a 9 or 10, because you have 10 strength, a 10 would count. But if I roll a 10, it would be a fail, which is interesting. It's not good or bad, just saying like this is how it works, and this is just an interesting way to do it.
Yep. It's definitely different.
Yeah. I like that it's a very quick, oh, I rolled a 1, that's bad, but I didn't do it kind of thing. It's kind of, When making an attack on an opponent, you're trying to roll a target number or over to hit. The target number being their defense, which you math out from your character stats. And then you have some tables sometimes you roll on, and there you go. And you can get bonuses and penalties to the rolls, and there's edges, snacks, and what are those? If you have an edge, you roll twice and use the most favorable results. A snack, you roll twice and use the least favorable results. So it's advantage from D&D.
Yeah. I like these terms more than advantage and disadvantage. That's
Yeah.
part of the problem that I have still with 5e is just it's a long word.
Yep. I like them using them here, and I like the mechanic in general.
Yep.
You can only benefit from one edge per roll and from one snack per roll, and they cancel each other out if you have both. So if you have the high ground, but you have a cold, it doesn't matter that you also have a laser sword as an second edge. It will just throw a normal roll if you have the cold. This should have very, very much just been at the start of the book. Just explain yourself a little bit.
Yeah. It would have been fine. It would have been a better layout.
Yeah. And then they also give you the focused rules with page numbers, which is also nice.
This is the other reason why this should have been at the start, because then if you just look at the beginning of the book, then you know where all these rules are.
Exactly.
Because at the very start of it's better to bookmark the start of the book than the middle of the book.
Yeah. This is like this a layout derp. I don't understand why so many people do it wrong, but here you are. So let's go back to, like, now that we've explained the very simple basics, let's go back to character creation though. So what do? You pick your calling, which is your class. You pick your species. Then you pick your homeland and history. Then your traits. Then your quirk. And then you finish up with some details. That's it.
Yep. That's it.
Callings. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 callings, 8 classes in this. And
boy, are they choices.
They are interesting choices, yes. And they are also they have weird names, but you can map these pretty well onto like classic classes. Like the sneak is the rogue or thief of your game. The champion is your fighty man. The raider, I forgot. I think is that like the archer, like the ranger kind of the game?
Yeah. Kind of the ranger.
Sage is the wizard, insofar as that exists in this. And they give you a quick overview here of what they get. So here we can see the factotum is like kind of the item-based class of the game.
Yep, your skill monkey.
The skill monkey survivor class, and we see like basic stats are up to 10, lowest seems to be 7, maybe 6 for some of these. I don't see a 6 yet, but I think at least the sage has 6 might. So you expect to 50-50 or worse for your starting rolls in most cases, which honestly is about what D&D does.
Yeah. So
we are very, very similar there.
Basically, most D20 systems go that way. So
yes,
just about right.
And then you have like some starting attributes, which like your attack bonus, which is 0 for this class, of 1 for the champion. 2 hearts versus 3, so our hit points are very low. But weapons do 1 damage for the most part, so it's about similar to D&D, where if you're first level as a fighter, we have 12, 13, 14 hit points. Sword does D8 damage, plus strength, you're about able to take 2 hits. So it's similar again.
Yep. There is only one other game that we've reviewed that has HP at a similar level.
Yeah.
And that is Space 1889.
True, yeah. But while Space 1889 aimed to be like a realistic, oh no, a musket hit you, now you have the gangrene game. This is very much we are gonna sword fight, and you took 1 heart of damage. Imagine it's like Zelda, basically.
Yep.
Where now you flinch away and you flash for a second almost. Not quite, but almost.
It just struck me as really funny when I was reading through this that, like, of all the similarities of all the games we've ever reviewed, that is the similarity between these two. Because in in Space 1889, the whole point was whenever you lose "quote unquote" all your health, yes, that's when you get the gangrenous wound. But that's also true in this system too.
Yes,
That's the
it's
only time you get injuries.
Okay, so let's talk about classes like on their own pages, because that's like kind of we're gonna get to it anyway. Like again, there's so much art, and they even put it in like these panels, so it's like you can
like
see
mini
the progression
comics.
stuff. Like the art style in this is. Let me show you the next guy, because I think like look at this guy.
Yes.
Like I'm sorry, but what the fuck is this guy? Look at these giant feet / giant boots, more like. Like, it is iconic, but I don't really vibe with the art, some of the art style. I have to just scroll through here. This is cool. But some of it, like especially if we get to the races later, is just not that great. It's evocative. It's all evocative, though. I'll say that. If you like, I'm not gonna say, "Oh, art style bad, game sucks." Of course, I'm just saying some of this art is a little bit not for me, but I'm not gonna hold that against the game really, because quality-wise, it's really good.
That makes me think, what happened to you, Garrett, the main character from the Thief series?
Yes, God, Garrett would look like a total bum.
He totally would.
And then, okay, each of these classes, let's go over that real quick first, gets the little tab table that you probably know when you have seen D&D before.
Yep.
They have their attack progression, their HP, their stat progression as well, because your stats will go up every other level of abouts. And then they have their abilities and the XP they need.
Yep.
And from the XP you do need, like, 1 XP is supposed to be an hour of play, and you get bonuses on top.
Yep.
So from this you can kind of gate the thing at, let's say, 120 hours, so like 30 sessions, then you're done, because you're 10th level.
Yep.
With bonuses and stuff, give or take, of course. So it's not a game designed for long campaigns.
Yep.
Your mileage may vary on that, but I'm just pointing it out.
Yep. It winds up feeling apparently in play like a few seasons of a show, or 1 season of a show if you really push it.
Yeah. And how it works with all of the classes is that at even levels you get a new ability, and at odd levels you get your stat bonuses.
Yep.
Meaning you end up with 3 starting abilities and 5 other abilities, 2 standard abilities and 1 and up to 3 advanced, but you can pick standard instead if you want to.
Yep.
And that's the classes. They're all like this. They also have this breakdown, like what weapons they are about to use, allowed to use. The factotum only wears light armor and can use a small shield. Can use standard concealed equip weapon and use lash. And then can use all missile weapons. So you are not meant to be in the front line with this character, essentially. Let's look at abilities. Because they inform some stuff. Starting ability second to none. While now leading a life of high adventure, you rely on the little skills that have always served you well in the past. You have an edge whenever you roll for a check or contest covered by one of your purviews. What are purviews? We will get to that later. This replaces the minor bonus you normally receive on a roll ratio purview. Now, this is really the skill class because you get to roll 2 dice. It's really good. A purview is essentially something you're good at. You know, you can define these at one point during character creation, which is later than this. This is something you always get to start as them. And then you get the factotum pack, which says you have a big backpack. You can carry more stuff. This game gives you like 10 to 12 items you can carry, with inventory slots rather you have. And you fill them with stuff. Like this game wants you to keep track of your rations and things like that. It's very old school in this once again. to the point where I must now ask you, Trick, do you think this is like somebody's ploy to get people interested in old school dungeon crawl, like hex crawling, via the medium of anime?
So here is my theory, and it's a very
Okay.
specific theory. There's
Mm-hmm.
Ryutama, which has a pretty good like travel stuff
Mm-hmm.
built into its game, because like the whole point of that game is to travel around and do stuff, with a lot of focus on the traveling. But it's not old school traveling in Ryutama. I think that this game, in part, is a reaction to Ryutama, in
Mm.
that they wanted, wait, it's not old school enough, the traveling overland, and there's not enough class stuff. I want to do something a little better than that. I feel like that's part of it. And
Yeah.
it's obvious that somebody had gotten, I don't know, the BCMI translated into Italian when they were a kid and played it.
Yeah.
But that's what I feel like every time I look through this. I'm like, this feels like somebody got like one of the few Italian translations of early D&D product,
Yeah.
and that's what they played for 15 years.
Like it is interesting to me because you can feel like the want on certain games to do this, and this one is a strong want to be old school, but also give it a fresh paint, which is
Oh yeah.
If you like that, you really like that. If you don't, you don't. Then third ability, don't mind me, which is as long as you aren't attacking anyone, they won't attack you. Action or doing something will obviously cause harm as opposed to plans. For example, healing a friend would go unchecked, but setting up a bomb would not. So you can be pretty free in your support role, because you won't be targeted unless, like, assumedly it doesn't say here, unless there's no other targets anymore because your party is like defeated, at which point you can probably just surrender. And then again at even levels you get one of the other abilities. You can be a crafting prodigy, you can select one crafting thing and you get okay. For specific rules, you can use either your insight deftness for crafting, identify items related to your craft, you can select the ability more than once, gain a new craft. So it just gives you the ability to use the crafting rules, essentially.
Yeah, you could be Senshi.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's what you would, this is the class that you would pick if you wanted to play him.
Yeah. And, oh, you're foreclosed. You've heard the old tales and that say even the scariest monsters can be subdued with a pinch of spice or deterred by a drop of moon plum juice. Is there something to this? Or they're just stories? You may choose a consumable material such as lantern oil, blah blah blah, to act as a deterrent to an unearthly adversary. Unearthly adversaries include Ashura, Devas, demons, undead, unshaped, or any creature with 4 or more allegiance points. What are those? Oh, we'll get to that later. Is this the problem of you not explaining your rules yet, game? It's that we are going to ask ourselves over and over. What is that?
Yeah. They could have taken advantage of their margins and put right next to it, you can find out about allegiance points on page blah blah blah.
Which is weird because they do it here. They tell you 280 for craft. Like, I'm not gonna call this book badly laid out, but I'm gonna say that if you have only 3 people working on it, then stuff slips through the cracks.
Yeah,
because they have injury linked here. They have replaced like prosthetic replacement of limbs. What the fuck is going on now? Linked here, but allegiance points. Now we don't explain those yet.
No.
And then they also tell you like what it does require. Like you need to roll your insight versus the adversary's aura, and then there's a whole. We're not gonna get into it, but like in exhaustive detail. But essentially, you roll a check, and if it works, it works. Otherwise, it is not. Use of this ability is subject to the rule of diminishing returns, so you can't use it over and over and expect it to always work. It's essentially. Also, it was linked. Never mind. Didn't highlight for me at first. Weird. Okay. So this is very evocative ability. Very storytellery ability. I'm not really sure about if I would want to have it in my for a player as a player.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if your campaign is gonna include a lot of demons and stuff, then this is useful. Sure, why not? I would definitely take Healer's Handstone next. You have trained as a physician or medic and are able to administer an array of field surgery procedures. This is almost the only heal skill in the game.
Yep. And of course, you can easily figure out the reason why. It's because you heal hearts after combat is finished.
Yes.
You only take something that's more permanent or long-lasting if you lose all your hearts in a fight.
Your hearts are essentially your hit points, but if they are reduced to 0, then you take injuries, which you have to then either heal with this, or naturally regenerate, which takes rest time.
Yep.
And this ability is like metal as fuck, because after a fight you can remove a single injury from a patient. You can also remove 2 unuseful body parts from a dead or inert creature without spoiling them. Like you are like some sort of orc, like pain boy medic, like ripping people's limbs off after the fight for later in case somebody needs it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're at rank 5, like level 5 at least, you can now attach a prosthetic replacement to a patient. Meaning you've spent 4 levels collecting arms and legs, and then you're at level 5, you can finally use them. Yep. I find that so funny. Yeah, because this game, this very whimsical game about anime protagonists, like fighting in the cool fantasy world, has permanent limb removal. And as injury in the injury table, or stuff like you're dismembered and die in a turn, Rollmaster style, like kill injuries, where you just a smear on the wall now because you rolled so bad. And the more injuries you take, like if you take 1 injury, that's usually a light injury, but you still roll on the table. 2 injuries gets pretty gnarly already, and 3 injuries is you can just die. And if you take a 4th injury, you dead. No roll. So that's interesting. Very interesting. This is a very good ability, I think, in most groups.
Oh, yeah.
You will need to roll deftness, and you need a physician's kit. And you can only use it once per week on a person, but still, it's 1 heal that you wouldn't get otherwise.
Yeah, and especially considering how injuries, when they pile up very badly.
Yep. It is also how the way health works, right? Every fight you get your hearts back, but you keep injuries. So I find that funny because it kind of means that, oh no, a new fight started. I guess my chopped off arm is fine. I can just fight again because my HP are back. Like, it makes it weird. The game, I think, probably assumes that you take time to get like treated, but it doesn't really say you need to. But yeah, that's like a little peek into what we're going to talk about later. Combat coordinated. You can organize a team offensive. When performing an attack assist action, you target an enemy instead of an ally. An attack rolls made on the chosen enemy during that turn receive a minor bonus +2. Any attack roll on your target now receives an edge instead of a minor bonus. So this is you basically, if you help someone attack, they will get a +2 to that roll. But in this case, you put it on an enemy and everybody gets the bonus, which is pretty good.
Yep, pretty darn good.
This is quite tactically usable. Silver Tongue, you have an edge on all negotiation rolls as long as you're given a chance to speak.
Mm. Yes, it would be very difficult for you, Sundered.
Wow. Oh my god. Good friends share social and good friends share a lot of things without even realizing it. If you listen, you can learn. Gain a purview of your choice from each character you are in a social bond with. Explain those later. So that does mean, since your purviews are also the stuff you get an edge for, it's a good combo there. Like the build, like these character classes are pretty simple, but there's build variety here that is deeper than D&D.
Yeah, right away. Also, there is when compared to 5e and 5.05e, look how much non-combat stuff we've been talking about already.
Yes.
Which, that's the big difference right away for me, is it's just like, this is, okay, so we've talked a lot about level systems and how there are good ones that exist like Fabula Ultima.
Mm-hmm.
For me also, another good one that exists is one that goes, hey, you get abilities and they aren't always, hey, you hit orc harder in face.
Yes.
Or you hit orc in face with fire. Because that is the biggest problem I have with level-based systems, is that you don't actually develop your character.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yep.
You just have more way to fight.
Yeah, because
you fight good.
also because 17 different ways to do more damage or hit more is just still the same thing you do.
Yeah.
You're doing it 17 different ways doesn't really change that you'd always do it. Yeah, even like stuff like Folklorist, for example. Yeah, you avoid the whole fight with this, potentially.
Yeah.
Even. Like, it's very useful. By cutting wit in a fight, you can attempt to unsettle an enemy by directing inflammatory words at them. So your target must either immediately attempt to attack you the next turn or lose one heart. That's so good. If they have no hearts left, they must try to attack you. So you can insult people into exposing themselves, basically. Isn't that cool? You can access guiding on a journey with Sword Navigator. This is overland. You can take the overland ability, I suppose. Why not? And then you get a pet later on. When turning a tool you aren't at hand, you can make attempt to bait check to request a specific tool with an improvised alternative. If requiring a physician's kit to perform healer's hands, you might use a ripped cloak as a substitute bandage. These are advanced skills though, we have level 6 or more. I almost in many cases find the advanced ones less good than the basic ones, so I understand why you're allowed to pick basics later.
Oh yeah. They're far less flavorful almost every time too.
Yeah. You can perform 2 activities during a downtime instead of 1. Yeah, okay. Pack tactics. Can use your pack as either a mighty weapon or a large shield. Gear allowance restrictions don't apply. Using your pack as a piece of combat gear. So basically you hit people with your backpack. Giving you the ability to use either of these things, which is why not? Yeah. It's more direct bonus to combat, which I think this class doesn't really use that much, but anyway. And then we have a few more here. I'm not going to go over all of them. This is like we're looking at this class like overall. So we get 5 abilities. We get our 3 starters and then 5 more. Yep. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 basic choices. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 advanced choices. So 16 choices, 5 of these you actually get.
Pretty good.
Pretty fine. Because again, D&D, yeah, pick one, do 1 choice at level 3. Or maybe 2 in your D&D. To have then, to not get 3 abilities, but get 3 different ones. It's, it is, in my opinion, still not very deep in terms of a system, because you cannot multi-class in this at all, and you're gonna probably pick your favorites out of these 5 and then if you play the class again, Are you gonna pick 5 completely different ones? I don't know, and I don't think so. But I haven't played, so maybe you do. Overall, it's. I'm not sure this is really enough for replayability, but it is more than D&D gives, so it's passing grade, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's the big takeaway is that it's more than what D&D gives.
Mm-hmm.
There are other little things too. This game is very geared towards, hey, let's get it together, let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get it together, let's go play the game.
Yep.
Versus, hey, let's roll your stats. Like, even the act of removing that step and just having it, well, if you pick this class, this is your aptitudes. Like, it has its advantages, it has its disadvantages. Like, you don't really have a character identity, you have a class identity.
Yeah.
Which, for a game like this is fine, though, because that's the kind of game that this is. Do I want that in my games? No. But if we're going to play this kind of game, then actually it's a benefit to be like this. Because then you don't have people doing substandard stuff all the time and being silly about it and dumb.
Yes.
Because a game like this, if you do something substandard with your aptitudes, then it actually hurts you quite a bit more than it helps you, which is very OSR, very old school D&D brain.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's worth noting though that these are also basic. That you get ways to increase these somewhat later on.
Somewhat.
But these, every single one of these class starts with the stat spread. Being slightly below average and everything. Or no, actually, I think 8 is average, so being slightly above average in 3 and below average in might. Presumably you might actually higher, but you always have your stuff, so you're carrying that and it's encumbering you. Okay. Next class is the sneak. Getting light-footed, unaffected by isolated and precarious battlefield conditions. It's the stuff like, oh, there's caltrops on the ground. I don't care. Furtive, you always gain the benefit of stealthy movement while exploring, even if your team is using a different movement type. Yeah, you pick movement type in this, and then your team might be spotted, but you won't be. Sticky fingers. You can attempt to take an item from an individual in the same battlefield area as you after you perform a successful attack, stunt, or combo trick on them. You can pilfer in combat, which is pretty cool. Many masks. You have an edge on all roads involving acting out different personas to fool others. You might even be able to trick people you know if your face is covered. So you're good at spy stuff. Karami. If you've been hit by an attack, you can attempt to avoid taking any damage with Karami. Is this where you become the log?
Yes.
Yeah, a log wearing your head, exactly. This ability will not work if you have nothing left to slip out of. So you can buy clothing in this game. You should buy like 8 sets of clothing as this character. This ability may only be used once per fight as well, so no, you shouldn't need to. Yeah. I wanted to illustrate my immediate thought about this. So you don't take damage once per fight, which is better than many masks. Who knows? Depends, I guess. Meticulous Dungeoneer, you are able to perform the inspect location action without prompting a roll on the adventure site's encounter table. This kind of stuff is so old school that it puts me off. I do not want my adventure to consist of, oh, you're looking around the cairn again? Well, I must roll on the random encounter table for the dungeon now.
Yeah.
I do not like this. I do not like the idea of the DM being shackled to this. Because like if the rogue at the table takes this ability, and I never roll on that table anyway, that's a wasted ability, right? I can of course communicate that, but I do not really like this at all, because there isn't really a good outcome for this. Like, it's just a passive that doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
Really?
it just negates something rather
Yeah.
than enabling something. And abilities like this should be enablers, not
Yeah.
disablers.
The only thing it enables is that you should always be the one searching, I guess, because you will never trigger anything then. So you're taking the spotlight a bit more.
Yeah.
But the rogue doesn't have trouble being in the spotlight. Like, oh, I'm sneaking ahead. Okay, you see then it's already the case that they always see the room first and always get to react first to everything anyway. So this is a dot of an ability in my opinion. First one we found that I would say isn't great. Twitchy, you have an odd reaction that warns you that you're about to do something dangerous without realizing it. Perhaps you sneeze before opening a trapdoor, or maybe your palms itch before you sip from a poisoned goblet. So you have danger sense. I would say this is way more interesting than this, than a Dungeoneer. Like, you can... I would fold these together. Like, yeah, sure, you roll on the table, maybe not, but also you get danger sense.
Mm-hmm.
Still kind of like, I'm not super sold. Like, I'm more sold on the other class abilities than this so far. Mm-hmm. Sudden strikes. You're able to make unarmed attacks as if wielding a concealed weapon. So you're essentially able to punch real good. Since weapons in this game are very easy to come by, and like there isn't really much rules about you can't bring weapons to places because you're mostly going to spend time exploring the wilderness and stuff. This is pretty much not very useful. Depends on the campaign, of course. What do you think, Treg? Is that would you agree?
So for all three of these, once again, it's very much a does this apply in the situation, but also at the same time, like the other class we were talking about, you can heal a whole injury. You can sever limbs and keep them preserved forever. And here it's, by the way, you can punch somebody and turn it into a sucker punch.
Yeah.
Like, that just sounds so unsexy, it's not even funny. That's the other part of this. Like, if it was like, you were able to make unarmed attacks with your full bonus, or with a +1 bonus, with a plus something, or you're able to use special weapon maneuvers, but with your unarmed strikes. Something, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like you're wielding a concealed weapon. Cool. You're good at sucker punching.
Yeah.
What?
And then we get to an actually cool one because you become alchemist. You can craft poisons and potions. And those are actually very impactful in this. We'll get to that later. Legerdemain?
Yeah, legerdemain.
Okay, whatever that means. You have an edge on all deftness rolls that involve removing or attaching an item to someone's person without them noticing, picking a lock or tampering with a mechanical device. From a card tricks, blah blah, the classic rogue kind of skill.
Oh yeah, like this is already covering way more than hell. 3 of those combined.
Yep.
Oh.
Flanker. During a fight, you gain a minor bonus on attack rolls against opponents who are being attacked by another character in the same turn. Very flavorful. I would have just given that as a basic thing though, because the rogue does not the sneak doesn't get really I would have said that's a basic thing. We shouldn't need to pick, but still it's impactful, I guess, for compatibility. Like, I wouldn't pick it though, because the poison one is interesting, Kawami is just cool, and many masks is cool, and you're already over your allowance. Combat opportunities. You have an additional all attack rolls made when you've chosen to react. We'll get to that later, but it's a combat action. Like, again, it is so weird that just click on it now. What's react? And you have to read it. Like, Again, you can't explain everything, but it's the stowing. You may hide a single item, no larger than one inventory slot, somewhere on your person, even if naked. Okay, understood. The stored item does not take up one of your inventory slots. The stored item cannot be found via conventional search methods. It takes a turn to retrieve the stored item from its hiding place. I know it does. It takes at least a turn. Flavorful ability, probably not going to come up often, but if it comes up, it's probably really good.
Yep, that's another one of those. It's ultra situational, but the situation happens.
Yep. Your active imagine is going to inner dramatics. You may cancel an action you have made if you are dissatisfied with the results. It turns out you were only playing it out in your mind. You can now choose a new action, but must be different from the cancelled action. The ability may only be used once a game session, so you are stuck with however your second choice works out. So see, would I really take stowing over this? Oh, in a dramatics, I tried to sneak up on the Baron and stab him. Well, he sees you and stabs you back. Ah, no, it didn't happen. It's so much more impactful and so much cooler to have dramatics than have oh, I can put this thing up my bum.
Yep. And also, just the roleplay of I can hide something up my bum is so much weaker than I was just fantasizing about killing the Baron. Never mind.
Like we talked about this being a super cool mechanic in the Freya game, in the Abbey, and this is still a cool ability even if you limit it more. It's still worth the point easily.
Oh yeah, easily. You'd use it every session. Period.
Yeah.
You just would.
Borrowed bait, you can attempt to redirect a fate attack roll against you onto another target if they are in the offending weapon's range. Like, see, that's so much better than like,
my hands are concealed.
Yeah. Charming Grifter, during negotiation, you add an edge to the primary negotiator's aura check if they are using the honeyed words outright deceit tactic. Which this is a hint that a lot of stuff is very regulated in this game. Where which tactic are you using to negotiate? Oh, I'm using honeyed words or outright deceit, or maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm using something else, in which case it doesn't work like this. Like, very situational again. I don't know. Hide in plain sight. You can attempt to hide while being observed, assuming there's room to move, somewhere to hide, and or something to provide a distraction. Yeah, I could hide something up my butt, or I could take this. Like, hiding in plain sight is always cool. Oh man. Darkness is your ally. You are immune to obscured battlefield condition. You are immune to blinded, deafened ailment. So your senses always work. Also really good. Your speed rating increases by a single level, which is situational, I would say.
Yeah.
No, sir, I will never stop. And then we see here light armor, stealth concealed quick weapons, every ranged weapon. A very much identical advancement table. There's not really any surprises here, except the base stats are different. But yeah, everything goes. Like, you also notice that there isn't like a thing where, guys, def 10, it's gonna be like 18 at the end. No, it's always every stat goes up by 1 point every 2 levels.
Oh.
Yeah. Meaning it would not have been hard to make this game 20 levels.
No, it's really not hard. But, the cynical part of me is just like, well, that's for break 2.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Maybe, I mean, hey, maybe they've... And then if the champion next, we're not going to go over it in this detail anymore because I think I made my point about how this works.
Yeah, because now we're getting into the fighty ones that are actually kind of boring that say, you have a favorite weapon.
Yeah, the fighting ones are all like what I like, for example, opportunistic butcher. You can create rations from slaying creatures. Yeah, that's a basic ability. You can always do that. So you always get something that isn't just fighting, but a lot of this will be fighting. Like here, You get an attack edge when sundering something. Your additional heart of damage to a successful attack against massive or colossal creatures. You can enter Berserk mode where you get +2 to attacks, -1 to defend, +2 to might and crit, so blah blah blah. This is all going to be this is mostly going to be combat. But sometimes you also just gain supernatural leaping. You can sometimes take, like, regenerate your health if you succeed and stuff. Like, it's very combat focused. You can use every weapon that exists in the game.
Yep.
And every armor. Your might is maxed and your grit is high, blah blah blah. And you get a full progression for your attacks.
Yep.
Because this is the first pure combat class, so this is where the game would break down if you had 10 more levels, if you don't change something about that.
Oh yeah. Very quickly.
Because you run into the D&D problem of, yeah, sure, armor class whatever is pretty good at the start, but if you keep the armor class as is, because your dex doesn't level and you don't, like, your rope is a rope and you're a wizard, you have like 12 IC. Yeah, level 10 guy is always going to hit you because he has to roll a 2 to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And a level 11 guy will technically always hit you even with a 1, but probably that doesn't hit. So that's where we kind of see the game being 10 levels making more sense. But
Yep.
Radar, blah blah blah. You're the archer person.
Yep.
Your speed rating is also fast.
A hunter weapon.
Yes, and you're faster. You are like kind of the ninja of the team as well of this. So fight, you can choose a target for your hunting focus. You can do this anytime. Your focus can be an opponent, but it could also be an object. You cannot switch your focus. You gain edge and attack rolls against your focus. So you have Hunter's Mark, but without spell slots. Hey, wizards.
Yeah.
Figure that one out. It's just unlimited.
Yeah.
You can use it once per fight. Wow. Wow, it's so complicated.
It's so complicated. It's so hard. Jeremy Crawford, he has a hard time.
Yeah. And then you also get the log, but it is not a log, you just dodge instead. You can move further. Like, this is the fast, like, agile combatant, basically. It's not so much the archer as it is just the fast, agile fighter as opposed to the big burly fighter that we just looked at. Which is why they can't use every armor and shield, but they can use every weapon.
Yep.
And they also get, interestingly, they don't get max depth though. It's just kind of weird. I would have expected this to be depth 10, but that's the score. That's only the sneak gets that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Battle Princess, which is basically Magical Girl.
The names so far, Aldius and then Battle Princess.
Yes.
And then the next one's just as much of a doozy.
Yeah, I love both of these. Battle Princess gets a Heart's Blade, which is basically you can transforming melee weapon. You can call this weapon into existence. Melee weapons are formed instantly. Drawn and mechanical missile weapons take a turn to fully form. Your Heart's Blade will vanish instantly on command. Only a single form of Heart's Blade may be summoned at any one time. If the weapon is sundered or lost during combat, you can will it away and summon a new blade. This, interestingly enough, I think always counts as a normal weapon, even because she only has access to that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. And you get a bunch of abilities that are kind of protecty, and like suddenly gem light. You can always make a gem glow, and you gain one bright allegiance point, whatever that is. You pay a point to have a torch. Don't do that.
Yes.
It's so much better to have. Oh my god. Like, imagine, like, you're able to summon your sword at any time for free. Oh, here it is. Yeah. And for a secondary weapon. Okay, wait. It has a lot of rules. Quick, master, mighty, arc. So you can pick even pick a style.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Rank 3, +1 to attack rolls. So you have your own magical weapon. Really cool. And you have a shield of love as well, which allows you to, once per fight, absorb a heart of damage on somebody. And even like more than one person eventually. And you also get a soul companion for free, which is like a little guy that follows you around. But then you're level 2 and you can pay one of your 5 abilities to make your fucking gem glow. What the hell? Why? Why would I pick it?
Well, the reason why you pick it is the secondary reason. You can transfer a single injury from a target to yourself.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. So you could take an injury on yourself. It's true that... why isn't that mentioned first?
Yeah, it should be mentioned first. Plus, what does it have to do with gems glowing? What?
I think this is pretty weak. Yeah. Because you're like you already have the ability to just take 1 damage away, like in a fight. Well, I mean, I guess it's like it is very topical for this class, I suppose. You can summon a tool made of the same magical material chosen by your Heart's Blade. You can summon any simple tool. Okay, you can summon this at will. That's honestly useful. Because again, in this game, you have to lug around all your stuff. So keeping like item slots open is pretty useful. You gain the crafting disciple cooking. The special roots on creating items for crafting aura. Use aura for cooking rolls. So your cooking is just good because you look cute.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
you're the adorable chef.
Yeah. This is more useful than it sounds having these because you only unlock stuff like this from your class if you pick it. No one starts with this stuff.
Yep.
So having this may actually be really good.
You are Elf Senshi. Yes.
Yes. Exactly. Compassion cure. With a touch, you can attempt to remove a physiological, physical, or magical ailment from someone you care about. Attempting this ability during a fight requires you to spend an action. So ability cannot be used for situations, ailments, toppled, restrained, and overburdened. Okay. Yeah.
So it doesn't work for somebody who's grappled, or if they fell down, or if they're just carried too much.
You can unpetrify someone, but you can't, if they are tied up, untie them. With this ability. I guess
I'm gonna soothe your bondage.
Like much as this is a bit of a silly paragraph. It's probably easier to list what you can't do than what it can.
Yeah.
So fair enough.
Fair enough.
And if you fail, you can't try again. Your Heart's Blade is ablaze and now does flame damage instead of mundane damage. Successful attack, the fire can get discharged to engulf the target and cause an additional heart of damage. This causes exhaust the ability. Like again, why would you pick the gem? Anyway, I digress. Like some of these also give you a bright allegiance point. Again, we get to what that means later. I'm kind of, let's just go through the classes. There's too much here. Again, it's about 8 and 8 abilities each time. You pick the cool ones you like. This classes will see with the stat. You also get your little guy. And if this appears in the book, like this die icon and then the number, this is like if you want to roll, you can, but you can also always choose.
Yep. They
put it next to each other, which I find pretty good, honestly. You can roll your little guy. What abilities does he have? Is he a mount? Is this little guy a mount?
You ride him around?
Or is he like a glider, fighter, blah, blah, blah. What abilities does your toy have? And so on and so forth. Then you see we get all the armor. We only get standard weapon, but that's a lie because we can choose. So I don't know why that's like, this should be just a special, and the same for missile weapon. You see, you have 2/3 progression for attacks as well. What does that mean? Well, in old school D&D, you have half progression. Every second level you gain attack. You have full progression where every level you gain it, and then you have two-thirds progression where every fourth level you don't gain it, or every like about fourth level, it depends. So you see here, 1, 2, 3, then 3 again, 4 again, 5 again, 6, 7. Like it's a bit arbitrary in this case. It's not really a normal progression.
Yep, it's not a normal progression, but
yeah, whatever. Meaning this class is a bit more of a maybe like not a full fighter, more like support fighter with like ability use geared towards like supporty stuff. But it's much of a cleric as you can get in this almost. Because again, there will not be our sage cast will not have spells. And now we have the murder princess, what Wagot says is Wagot's class, which is the dark version of the battle princess. You get the same kind of thing again with the summon weapon, but it's evil. And you get a bonus to like the target of your glare loses a single heart of damage. You can just stare at someone really accusingly and they take damage. Can expend the heart to reroll any fate attacks. So you can, this class is geared towards like it's the dark knight of this game. And then you get freezing blades to the fire blade and a dark allegiance point. You can shoot a magic missile out of your hand. You get a +4 to your naked defense rating for your bulwark of disdain. Is this good? Not really, because it's just medium armor. I guess if you really want to be in your battle bikini, this is pretty useful.
Yeah, it's basically your battle bikini ability.
Yeah. You get a natural negotiation if you use physical intimidation. Desperate friendship, you are now subconsciously connected to anyone you have a social bond with, and if separated, you know which direction to go. You can sense if any of them are in mortal danger. Seems situational. Okay, sure. And so on and so on and so on. Like, it's, again, we're not going through everything. It's giving you an idea of the vibe of the class. This is the same deal as the other magical girl, but this one is more edgy and gets max grit and bonks you real good. And if you slide her, and you have the sage next, who is your caster, as much of a caster as this game has, which is not really a caster.
Yep.
We'll see.
You'll see.
They get the grimoire, which allows them to basically know more stuff and remember more stuff. You can push someone with your staff 15 feet away. And can cast light for free, which again, why would you have it on a gem? I digress. And you can use prestidigitation to have a little cool, like a little thing appear or whatever. You know, it kind of works like in D&D. And then you have everyday divination. You can tap a reflective surface once and politely request to see a particular person or object. The subject must be larger than your hand, but no taller than yourself. Mirrors, windows, and even puddles can be used. Or surface, not subject. Never mind.
Yeah, surface. Yeah, if it was the subject, well, little magical girl's gonna have trouble then.
You can scry on people once per day. You can also mortifyingly bloat them. Someone's fetish right here. Where you make someone be a big fatty, fat for a while. And they get minuses to fight and do things because they are very fat. And it gives you a dark allegiance point because being into fat, into like inflation porn, is actually evil.
Yep. Yep, this is for those of you who want to play out all your tribal hunter fantasies. I've referred to that game enough times now.
Yeah. Well, no times was enough times for a Drake, to be fair.
I think this is the 4th time.
I know. You can gain crafting, artificing, makes sense. You have glowing. You can use your mage staff as if it were a giant pen and paintbrush, so long as the mage ability is active. The ink glows bright.
They give additional suggestions for using the mortifying bloat ability.
I was just gonna gloss over it, but please. Oh, you mean here?
Why not get creative? Turn an enemy or reluctant ally into a makeshift blockade or emergency flotation device.
Imagine being like, oh, we must flee, get bloated, last person in the party, you stick in the doorway and get killed. No thanks.
You can bloat a goblin as they're retreating and stick a door.
You can give someone the hocus pocus. Which honestly is a great name for an ability. I love it.
It is.
But it's also evil if you do this. This is a thing where I think they take damage. They collapse and is exhausted. Pause. Yeah. They don't die, but they will be miserable for a long time. Very useful cloud. Your cloud is oddly sturdy despite its gaseous nature and about the size of a large cushion. Summoning a cloud requires moisture in the air during a fight. It requires a turn's worth of gesticulation. The cloud can carry 6 items. It can be a messenger. The cloud's aptitudes are the same as yours. It has 2 hearts, defense rating of 12, and an average speed. So you can basically summon a little guy that fights for you. That's a cloud. Yeah, basically you have a little helper that just does things. Eldritch explosives. You throw a grenade that's magical.
It's literally a grenade. Yeah. Literally a grenade.
And it becomes more powerful later.
And that's a good guy ability because you get a bright allegiance point.
Yeah, it is. Because it's non-lethal. Look, non-lethal. So non-lethal. You can see it right here.
My God. Is this the berserk part of this?
I don't know.
I'm so confused.
Cloak of obscurity, man of subtle darkness, and become a shadow. While you're not invisible, you are definitely more difficult to notice. So you can become one with the shadows. You can demystify. You can attempt to end a single persistent magical effect. So you have dispel as an ability. It's probably very important to take.
Oh yeah.
Mana crush. You can target an opponent within 15 feet or one battlefield area. During a fight, Mana Crush requires use of an action. Target is crushed within a cocoon of mana, taking 3 hearts of damage. It only takes 1 damage if you fail. So it's physically taxing to cast and may only safely be used once per fight. Attempting the spell in the same fight or within a few minutes of the last attempt means you must roll on the injury table after the contest. Worth it for 1 injury to do 6 damage over 2 turns.
Yep.
Gain 1 bright allegiance point, because this is not evil.
Yeah, not evil to force choke somebody, kids.
Yes. And you can fly. You can... what was this again? Can attempt to persuade a local mana to manipulate objects in your immediate surroundings.
It's the more violent version of the basic ability that you get.
Oh, right. Yeah. You can animate stuff, like animate the broom and stuff, yeah. You can also puppeteer someone and make them fight for you. And if you roll every turn, if that keeps working, it's evil. You can build up a shield. God. Okay. TLDR. There's no spells in this game.
Yeah, none.
This class is the least fighty class because actually they have worse progression than even the Factorio. No, that was not the name. Factorum.
The way you pronounce that is like Factorio.
No, not that. That's a different class.
That's a different book.
That's a different book, yeah.
That's a different break game.
There is no spells in this game. I want to reiterate that. You might be able to craft like a thing that's useful with your arcane skill. But even the magical class is mostly not gonna be able to use magic in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
This is a weird choice.
Very weird choice.
Like your basic abilities specifically don't do damage. Can push somebody. What? Another guy can have a big axe that does 2 damage. Just out of the gate. It's kind of interesting that they went with this. This is definitely a moment where I'm like, so is this like a tonal inconsistency here? Because this class would fit right into a game of like it would be an adult witch in Golden Sky Stories.
I don't know.
Or I can hocus pox you and you're gonna feel miserable, and now you have to solve the problem and cure them. If there's the evil witch, put a pox on them. That's an adventure in Golden Sky Stories. Or you have to get the magical radish out of like the mountains or something. Like this isn't really a good class to play because what am I gonna do? I'm gonna throw some like stuff at people once I'm no longer able to use my one ability. I don't know. It feels like they didn't think this one through.
No. So whenever you design a system, there's a certain amount of what space does this class take up, and what spaces do we need classes to take up. In this game, there's a very big tonal inconsistency with regards to what space classes are supposed to be taking up to begin with.
Yes.
And I've mentioned that because the Heretic is the one that makes you go, what the fuck game am I playing?
Yes,
More than all their other ones
we're getting
combined.
to that now, but yeah, it is true. Like this game has two kind of classes. The first kind is the I have weapon, I hit guy with weapon, oh damage done class that gets mostly damage abilities. Actually, it's three kinds. And they have hybrids, which are like the rogue, the sneak, which get a little bit of fight and a little bit of other thing. And then they have support characters that in a fight will do very little. But outside the fight will probably carry the adventure a bit more, which is the Sage and the Factorum. We have seen so far at least. But this isn't really like, it's not going to be easy to make an adventure for this because your support classes that have maybe one or two abilities that they can use in a fight are not going to be super engaged while combat is happening, and then the fighty guys are not going to be able to do as much anywhere as near as much outside the fight. Which, okay, to be fair, still better than D&D, because in D&D most stuff is just solved by having the right spell with you, and in this you at least have to get creative about it. Again, I will say I would definitely play this over D&D, like spoiler alert.
For me, the design space feels like they're missing 8 more classes.
Yes.
And then suddenly it's
I so agree. I so agree they're missing 8 more classes and maybe the ability to have 2 classes.
Yeah.
Or maybe even, 3 classes or more than that, and then you just get an ability every level, and it's fabulous. Oh my god. Anyway, the Heretic. What's the Heretic do? Heretic's talents rely on summoning the sealed names, strange and unpredictable spirits with powerful magical abilities. Dark spirits wreak havoc on and obliterate your enemies, while bright spirits assist and guide you. That is, if all goes to plan. So, summoning class. You always have nightmares, but they might tell you something about the adventure. You look like you're undead or something, but you get an edge, intimidating, frightening, or repulsing somebody. And with Squire Marlowe, whom all chosen know, is there to make sure all your needs are attended to. This genteel and unfailingly polite figure is a great deal more forgiving than the other sealed names. So you can call Marlowe, and he will be he will assist you, including assist you in a fight. You can summon him, I think, once per day. Yeah. So if he gets pushed out of a fight, yeah. The Widow Primster. So this is just guys that you can summon all of them. which is an interesting class for sure. So we can summon the Widow Prisma. Upon crying for help, the Widow Prisma will immediately crystallize in front of you and absorb any inbound attack. So when it's instantaneous, Prisma suffers any damage, ailment, or when an effect directed at you, then dies. Her dramatic death throws last a turn until this shatters into fragments and disappears. Prisma can only be summoned once per every 24 hours. Gain a Dark Allegiance point. So take a hit once per day. This is the same ability others have had, except this one doesn't need to roll.
Yep.
Deacon Galrave throw your hands in the air and shout his full name, and Galrave, a fearsome spirit, swirls into action. Requires an action to summon. Galrave laughs, echoes, goes in panic. Starts from a battlefield area, must make a successful grid check or be terrified for 24 hours. Galrave, or if you fail, you lose a turn. Bushi Miyabi. Point at an enemy.
Not right now, but right.
No. Yell her name, and Miyabi will materialize next to your chosen foe. Summoning requires an action. Miyabi manifests next to your chosen target and engages them in combat. She has 2 Miyabi on a 4 up to 2 battle areas away. She strikes with a standard weapon. Her attacks always the same as her target. She has defense of 12, speed rating is fast, she evaporates if struck or when a target has been killed, but once summoned she cannot be called off or dismissed. So you're just able to sick your summon on somebody.
Yep.
And that's also dark. And so on. Yep. You just summon dudes that do things. Specifically.
Yeah, that's literally it.
This is actually the most spell class we have. Summoning weird ghosts. Because at least this is Bushi Miyabi is at least a reliable. I'm gonna hex some on and put a hex on somebody, and they're gonna have to defend themselves or die. And Deacon Galgrave is I'm threatening people. Sure, it takes a roll, but there you are. This is the most direct thing. It's also the one where you could most easily write another ability for. Just make up a new summon, which they don't say you're supposed to, but I think you should be able to.
Oh, easily. This is the 3rd edition binder.
Yeah.
Just
True.
literally.
True. And here we see them. Marlowe is a skeleton. The widow just gets stabbed and dies, which is funny. Galgrave and so on and so on and so on. We see them all. Man, she looks good. Like, oh no, Bad Breath Granny is here.
Bad Breath Granny.
Like you get all of these cool little guys, and the reason why this is not really amazing to replace than more so, if I played this class again, I would want different guys.
Yeah, you'd want different guys. Like this also, okay, so this is the opposite in Fabula Ultima in one way, in that a game like this, the more choices you have for each class, the better. And when I say choices, I mean real choices. I don't mean like, I get to treat my elbows as deadly weapons.
Yeah.
No, like actual abilities.
Yeah. It is worth noting again that you only get like 5 of these out of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, actually 17 in this case, so one more than... No, wait, one of them is basic, so it is 16 again. So each class probably has like 16 total abilities that you pick 5 from. Well, that's how the classes work. I think we need more classes.
Yeah, I need some more classes.
Or like something to deepen the pool of the classes, because again, like I have to make a class one time. But I have picked the ones you like. And usually you won't have 5 more picks in you that you also like just as much. I'm not saying that playing this game 8 times with 8 different classes who have played each one once is a bad value proposition in the status though. Like it's like saying, oh, I play only barbarians in D&D and it's getting boring. Yeah, no wonder. Maybe play something else.
Yes, exactly.
Hmm?
Yeah, like just like normally you would sit into this and look, well, you need more options per class. No, you just need more classes.
Yeah.
And the thing is that like a game like this, it's okay if there's a bit of overlap between what two classes do.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean,
I'd
the
argue.
archetypes that are presented here are like heretic.
Yeah, like you could actually easily come up with more classes. You could also very easily like the overlap already exists. Like you already kind of have 2 or 3 classes that do similar things each time.
Yep.
You have 2 fighters, you have 2 half supports, you have 2 full supports, and you have 2 casters.
Yep.
Kinda.
And we named one Murder Princess and Battle Princess. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's We already see they can be very similar, but so
yep.
pretty
Like
easy.
I would enjoy this game more if they had more classes, but also it's like 80 pages of classes right now.
Yeah, which is more than most books. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now we get to species. How does that work? Well, you pick one, or you roll the dice. We have a lot of them here, which we're gonna quickly go over. You have human native, which is a human from the fantasy world.
Yep, a fantasy human.
I give them that. It was very good of them to draw the guy here, because we will get some ladies later. But yeah, cool. What do you get? You have medium. You're medium species. You start with 1 ability. You're getting into those later. You get an elective ability from your calling sent ability list, so pick another one of those. You have supernatural will, and that's it. Like your species essentially gives you oh wait, never mind. You can pick this instead of one advanced thing. Okay, well that's actually not great, but whatever.
It's not great. Just get it.
Yeah. But that's how it works. Then we have the dimensional stray human, which is the isekai protagonist.
Yes.
I love her.
Yeah.
I love the idea of like 60-year-old black grandma that ends up in fantasy world and just kicks everybody's ass with her pan or something.
Oh yeah. She'd make a great factotum.
I also like this guy's pose.
Yeah. Me? Oh, I was covering my nipples. Yeah. Shy. I don't often show this on Reddit.
And what does he get? He also is medium. Starts with 1 ability, but you get 1 aptitude bonus of choice. And you can't take it on something that's been modified by your traits. So you get a bonus of 1 point on one of your stats, basically.
Yep.
So big difference? Not really.
No.
Next one is the chip, the worst class, worst race in this or species. Because they are small people, and we all know what that means. They're probably 1,000 years old.
Chris Chibnall.
Yeah. You're small, meaning you can carry their stuff. You start with 1 ability. Would be observers required to make an insight check notice you unless you are making a conscious effort to be seen. Like, this is good for the rogue specifically, the sneak.
Yeah.
Being small. Then you have the Tenebrate. Gaunt appearance and affinity for the night unsettle many folk. Whispers still persist about their dark and noble bloodline, but it's not apparent that they are only as sinister and desperate as any other species of the outer world. So you're basically a tiefling. Congratulations.
Yeah, you're like a cross between a vampire and a tiefling.
Yeah. Get 2 abilities. You get 1 dark allegiance point. Also gain 1 dark gift. You gain shadow sight. You get a bit more going on here. Monarch homunculi, but this also level 6. We can comment creature. We have cat voice, Rhineko. God, again, the old cat. I do like, okay, I will point this out. This is pretty nice. You always get the picture of a baby or a cat child, of an old person of the opposite gender that isn't pictured. And then a bunch of dudes that you might encounter. It's pretty okay.
It's pretty good. Like, all right, here's the criticism of 5.05. They could have done this. They didn't quite nail it with the art that they decided to do of the here's a bunch of dwarves, here's a bunch of elves. The only one they ironically did this with is the orcs.
Yes.
Because they showed orc grandma, and they showed a young adult orc, they showed kid orc, they showed orc baby on back.
Yep.
It's important. It's important to show these things. Like with the Rhine-Echo here, you notice the guy on the far left. Oh, he just has a cat head.
Yeah, you can go full furry if you want to.
Yep. And showing what you can be is the most important thing with the artwork, because one description doesn't do it. Like, we're visual creatures, we humans, so it's very important to show us.
I want to point out too that the little kid gets like a leash or collar.
Yes,
you know, we know why.
Among the people.
And in the Rhine-Echo get stuff. Who cares? We have Prometheans, which are like dragon people. Get a few less pictures. Also, they can regenerate limbs on their own, which is very important because you might lose them. We'll get to that later. We have the Groon, which are big orcs, big fatty orcs. Kind of cute though, like her. Man, is this just the official expression of Ursula?
Her facial expression?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's very close to how her expression is. Either that, or it's like unmitigated joy, and nobody has no idea why she's happy.
Yeah, it's these two. This or this.
Yeah, joy. Yes. Yeah. Now we need. I have to get Ataraxian to do the many facial expressions, and then just have two facial expressions.
Yeah. Big orc dudes are large, meaning they're easier to hit, but also do more, like carry more stuff. They get one more heart of health, and they get one ability. And you have goblins. I'm the nose. What the fuck is wrong?
Well, these are more gremlins than goblins.
Yeah, these feel more like movie gremlins. It's true. Again, I want to point out that these dice keep triggering me so hard. What does it mean?
Yeah, I don't know what it means either.
I'm subconsciously adding them together. This is 24. Does it do anything? No, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah. We have dwarves. Why are their heads so big? They are born from a potato.
Yeah, they're literally potato chia pet people.
Yeah, them.
Because these are dwarves that where their hair is like moss growing on them rather than actual hair.
Yep. You're medium somehow. Two abilities. They thrive in the dark, but struggle to cope with sunlight. You're sturdy, you gain 2 base inventory slots, you're immune to the overburdened element, which is pretty nice. Kind of means you have 5 slots. Yeah. Whatever. Elves, again, the nose is... This would explain why in the Rollmaster game the elf lost their nose. Like Ming the Merciless is also here.
Yes. And so is Link right next to him.
Yes, of course we have Link. Oh god, he's Link from Zelda 2 specifically.
Too real Link.
You're ageless, you gain 2 abilities, you're a medium species. Immortal
you have an immortal ego.
You're immune to one ailment of your choice with the expression of overburdened. So you could be immune to getting tripped, actually. Falling over. That's funny.
You always gracefully land on your feet.
That might be my favorite thing in the whole book, realizing this. Because, yeah, getting like pushed on your ass is an ailment. It's technically an ailment. Yes. And then we have biomechanoids, which are just, robots, robots.
Yep.
They're also here. Because again, this is a world where it used to have technology, and they get like a bunch of stuff which you would expect because they're robots. For your homosexual needs, exactly. And then they explain what small, medium, and large does. Small can carry less, gets -1 might +1 defense, +1 deftness, blah blah blah. Basically, big guy, easy hit, but more strong. Small guy, harder hit, but less might and less carry. And then they explain supernatural leaping and supernatural might and so on, because those came up earlier. Why weren't they explained then? Who knows?
Who knows?
And here we see sizes. The dragon people are real tall.
Yep.
And dwarves, I guess, are just very wide people.
Yeah, that's why they're medium.
It's a bit too much whiteness for me.
Yeah. I like my dwarves, I don't know, a little more compact than that.
Yes, true. Like, it's like the head is just too big. I'm sorry.
It's way too big. They look. It looks like they got the rest of the body.
It's a giant, muscular, hairy baby.
Yes.
And no mums. I'm sorry, Waggles. They didn't put mums in. We could probably finagle them, but then since races are so easy, it wouldn't be hard to do. So choose a role of homeland. What do homelands do? Well, depending on who you are, you come from different places, and then you get a thing from it. Like, Forsaken Wanderer. Purviews. This is where you know like what you are good at. This is the stuff which our Factorum got a dead shot instead of a plus of a bonus. And then you get gear from this as well. But that's about it. Like, you get your 3 purviews and then some gear. That's how it works. So the Merc Dwellers are from a place where there's lots of spores, which is not Nausicaa, the Valley of the Winds at all. Very normal and not stolen, I swear.
That guild agent really wants to go.
Yeah, but you can already tell, like, if you have a party of 4, that one ability where you take an extra purview from everybody is pretty good. Unless everyone's from the same place, in which case it doesn't do anything. Which I think is a possibility they didn't consider. And also something that, how to put this, it shouldn't, they don't want it at all, because obviously, right? Even if your party only has this, then a lot of stuff that you might find useful from other lists you can never be good at. And that's I don't know. It feels like you can break the game there without realizing, by just being like, I also want to be from the Merc. Seems like a cool background. But then we can't. No, you can't be also from there. We need more purviews.
Yep.
It's a bit
more purviews.
It is slightly weird also that everyone from a place is just the same.
Yep.
There's another one moment where I'm like, this game does not really care about replayability.
No, it really doesn't.
But to be fair, there's a lot of these places at least. There's a bunch. Look, yeah, we're still scrolling.
Yeah, we're still scrolling. We're still going through it.
And,
yeah. Again, 200 pages just for character creation. So.
This is the world map, which you didn't put the map on this, but yeah, it shows you kind of where you are from in the world. Which, you're level 1 and supposed to be in the same place. How did you get there? Like, this is a big planet. And these guys are from below the planet. How are you there? They show even examples of like different languages and stuff. This is the right way to do it, because this is interesting world building here. But if there were 2 pages here about how you would write it for your spells or whatever, then I would say fuck you, like much I did in Victoriana.
Yeah, just make it visual and call it good.
Yeah, because no one cares. Other world histories also get backgrounds.
Oh yeah. One of the backgrounds you can pick is neat. So
yes, Of course you can.
There's something to be very topical in this game.
Could be an idle rich, which fuck you, no. And yeah, here we have a little comic about how you might end up in the place.
Mhm.
And then we pick traits. What are traits? Usually get one of these. No, wait, right.
Yep.
You pick 2 positives and 1 negative, and that's basically like you get +1 or +2 to a stat. Either 2 + 1 or 1 + 2. And you get a -2 to a different stat.
Well,
Like mixes it up a little. I would argue there's best picks here. Because certain things are derived from your like from stuff, especially deftness, which is just your defense, goes into your defense if I'm not mistaken.
mhm.
So yeah. And then you pick a quirk. Which is also, again, there's a lot of these. Which give advantages and disadvantages. Some case only advantages, like I found, which was the one I found that was really funny. Oh yeah, right. Nearsighted is kind of just a bonus. Like you start with spectacles, you don't use an inventory slot, you get +2 insight, get 2 additional bonus languages, and if you don't have your glasses, you get a snack to roll that are dependent on sight. So you're not going to use your glasses most. You lose them mostly, so it's mostly just a bonus here. Other things actually give you a minus. Like if you are girthsome, you are slower, for example.
Mhm.
But it gives you 1 more hit point because your flesh is, of course, your hit point. What? And then +1 grit and so on. So this is how these work. Again, it's just pick one. There's a lot here to pick. It's not
This
that
is
deep
once
though.
again another game where being fat means you have more HP.
Yeah. Like it's there's a lot of choice here, but the choice isn't very deep, basically, you know. Because you get 1 or 2 things from it.
Yeah, they're more of a.
Oh yeah, I love this one. Fairy cap. Fairy cap is cool.
Fairy cap. Yeah, I like that.
Because you have a little hat that looks weird on you, like, you know, like this guy. But you really like your hat and you don't want it to be removed. And while it isn't removed, you get a +1 bonus to your defense. And if it is ever removed, you get a -2 to a lot of things because you want your hat back. You're gonna take an extra point of damage when you don't have it on. Like, it's very bad. And then, you can also make sneasels. Like, there's just a lot here.
Yeah, this is supposed to be in the category of evocative rather than defining.
Yeah.
Like your sporting sprockets, like we're not going to do your entire character build around sporting sprockets. We just aren't.
No.
But it is evocative of what kind of character you are.
Yeah.
So.
And these are obviously for the robots. And then finishing details to describe your PC, like what they look like. And then make up a team name, I guess, for your party because they know each other in this per default. Hey, go shopping, which is the next part. They explain that there's basic money, which is stones. The 100 stones are a coin and the 100 coins are a gem. And they have examples of either here. And there's Zenny in this as well. Is Zenny from somewhere?
Yes.
Why? What is it from?
I don't remember where it's from, but I know it's from something that's in real life.
Yeah. Like, you know, you can use these interchangeably, but there's 3 denominations essentially. Like a gem is a lot more worth a lot more than a coin. Coin is worth a lot more than a shell. But they're each, you know, it's your money. Then you buy stuff. At which point we now get to the point where I'm like, hey, so each standard What?
Found it.
Okay.
It is the money in the Dragon Ball series. There it's spelled Zeni, but in Fabula Ultima it's Zenit, and then here it's Zenny.
Yeah.
So
okay.
There you go.
It's
we
legally,
solved it. It's
legally different, yes.
Yep.
Okay. What I was getting at though is, hey, how do weapons work? Well, if you have a standard weapon, Any calling or species can use a standard weapon. +1 heart for attack rolls the total 20 or more. So it does 1 more damage if it goes above 20. What is a standard weapon? Well, any standard weapon has these stats. Any concealed weapon has these stats. Any quick weapon these, and so on and so forth, making mighty and arc weapons really good, because mighty weapon does 1 more damage than anything else, and arc weapon can attack 2 people. The rest of these are kind of not as good as those, and the only reason these are better is because they're the two-handed weapons. You can't use a shield with them, while you can use a shield with the others, I would assume. Like, it doesn't really say, honestly. Like, while wielding one hand, you can suffer -2 penalty. Yeah, okay. So is it here too? So you could use these one-handed even, but it would be harder to use them. And then they give you examples of what those weapons look like, but it's all the same. Meaning anyone starting using. Ah, okay, I see where I got. I see. So it's just public domain names, kinda. So the only reason you wouldn't pick either a mighty or arc weapon is, like, okay, outside of flavor, of course, is if your class can't use them. But there's just the best choice here. Like, if you can use a quick weapon and get 1 to defense, it's probably good. But it also only hits more damage on 22 or more, so it's...
One of the best ones is Master, though, because
yeah,
+1 to attack rolls, but any attack roll of 18 and above is +1 heart.
Yep.
So,
Master weapon is, you probably, like, if you're a fighting class, you probably want to start with a mighty weapon and switch to a master weapon later.
Yeah.
If I think about it, I can then pick a shield up.
Yeah, because my time with 4th edition really taught me, hey, actually hitting means a lot more than anything else, especially in a system like this.
Yeah.
So,
like, I'd argue that the way, since stuff has like 3 hit points, doing 2 hit points of damage is worth maybe not hitting, because if you hit every other time with your axe, that's still as much damage as you're likely to with a master weapon early on. Like, so those are, in my opinion, the best ones. And then arc weapon attacking 2 is clearly also, in my opinion, better than using the master weapon. However, no shield. That's your trade-off, basically.
That's your trade-off, yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna give you a bunch of pictures, which again very evocative. I like the pillar with the rebar in it that you just peeled the concrete off of. Like, again, this game's like art is really good. Look at this whip; it's so cool. And then they also have ranged weapons. These often need an action to reload, so you can use them at every other turn. And they can usually only shoot 1 or 2 battlefield areas away, which is not a lot, because you can reach somebody 2 battlefield areas away in 1 turn if your movement speed is medium. So I would argue that that's maybe not realistic.
Yeah, I would have been longer, but yeah.
Yeah. And then you can have custom weapon abilities. It's just like, yeah, you can give them a little bonus or menace, and even if it's a shoddy weapon. Like, you can just give them a little extra, basically. It's just not magical so much as just, I have a concealed compartment in my weapon or something like that. And they might be, if you give them the dangerous perk, may do more damage, but also damage you if you are if you roll 1, which I would argue is worth it. Oh, the threshold to dex damage is dropped by 2. Yeah, it's still worth it. There's like, it's a bit of a zero-sum game when it comes to this game's fighting, in my opinion. It's like, there isn't enough choices here to give you more than 1 or 2 good ways to actually deal with fighting. So there's just a clear choice for weapons and stuff, which is kind of it's not good. Because in Fabula, which is, I think we can pretty much agree, the most similar game we have reviewed so far to this. You have the weapons are not hugely different, but a lot of abilities that classes may have depend upon them.
Yes.
Where in this isn't really the case that much.
No.
Continue. There's a little. I like the old school Gatling gun kind of look here.
Yes.
Gun blade, small mechanized missiles, master weapon, blah blah blah. And we have armor. How does armor work? Well, it gives a defense bonus, and it gives a maximum speed rating. And the bigger the armor, the less speed. That's it.
Oh. Pretty simple. Yep.
Yeah. And then they give cool drawn examples of armor. I like this one a lot. Like it's just basically a straw suit. Monster hunters will turn their latest skill into armor, especially if there's tough or colorful hide. It doesn't look like, it looks like a onesie made out of, like, imagine you to slay a dragon and make a onesie out of the dragon scale. Like, I would be offended as the dragon. Like, not that I can be offended because I am dead, but, you know. And then some super heavy armor. They can customize your armor as well, like taking away some hazards from a combat situation, stuff like that. Spiked armor. It gives you something to grab you, otherwise smash against you takes 100 damage. Stuff kind of like that. Like it's not super deep, but there's enough here that I would say it's okay. More so with the armor than with the weapons. Because with the armor, I feel like the trade-off is more real. Because, okay, I'm already slow, I might as well wear super heavy armor, sure. But otherwise, speed does a lot of good things in this. Like, speed also means more defense rating, for example. So there might be a tip-off point for your class. Where it's just better to not wear the heavier armor. And then they explain shields. They give just the defense bonus. The bigger they are, the more defense bonus. Yeah, that's about that. And then we have other things you can buy, like outfits and accessories. Blah blah blah. A lot of stuff you can buy. Examples of food is cool. Here we have the Vitality Fizz basic potion, which is gives you 1 heart back if you drink it in combat, or provides a day of ration if you outside of combat. One of the only ways to heal a heart of damage. It's not an ability, is this. I want that baby punch bun ration so bad. Yeah, it looks pretty. It's too much meat, I think. It's the whole kebab in a bread.
The whole caterpillar kebab, yeah.
I can't eat all of it. Oh no. Then there's like a lot of stuff like solvent or bomb, blah blah blah. These are here because you can also make them, you know? And since there isn't a mage, a wizard in the game who's going to cast fireball every time, you making a grenade is actually really useful. And why crafting in this game matters.
That's one thing that is a big plus in this game, is that crafting matters. That's one thing that, like, 5.05 completely dropped the ball on so hard. And they didn't have to drop the ball on that, because that's what people have been clamoring for in like every single tabletop game ever, is they want good crafting systems.
Yep.
Because they want to make stuff, and they don't always want to talk to a shopkeeper.
Yep.
Or any other normal human.
So this has, if I would have to sum it up, kind of the folkloric magic vibe to it, right? Where, sure, I can summon a ghost that I know, like whose name I know, but I can't just like fireball 5 times a day. Because
Yep,
that's not
exactly.
really like folkloric. This is more, oh, I know if I sprinkle the salt and put the flour there, then we can talk to the undead now instead of just having to fight them. Stuff like that, you know? Like it works, but it doesn't really sell that fantasy super well. It's more it's very, very Studio Ghibli again, where if you just know about how to deal with the spirit, then you don't have to have to fight it, I guess. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
We're not getting a high fantasy vibe here. We're
no.
not going and casting big spell. We are casting practical spell, or we are doing making item that do the thing that a spell would do.
Yes. And then we have the otherworldly items, which your characters can start with if they are an otherworldly person or if they can't. It's like a Game Boy Advance that works forever. And it has like the game that you're now stranded in on it, so you can look stuff up. It's kind of interesting. Yep. It's also the only stuff you restart with. Like it's basically your otherworld pocket device, so your phone, or some sort of gun from another world.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have like other world items, begin the game with 10 other world bullets. These cannot be bought, but must be manufactured by a gadgeteer able to craft advanced items. So you have a better gun than anybody else, but well, good luck getting the ammo. Kind of okay. I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
What if tech wasn't long ago, but was just folks adapting to the trickle of other words? Yeah, you could tell that story, Waggots, and it has been done in manga form. Yep. This game does not really tell that story, though. It tells more like there used to be advanced civilization, it's gone though. Story. It tells about companions now, which is the last part of it, because you can hire like a scamp to carry your stuff or whatever, or hire a Castro to fight for you, alongside you,
or a guide,
or a guide or a sage, basically. A hire dudes. He has rules for that. Very old school.
Uh-huh.
You can have a pet as well, a growler or a buzzer or a punch grub, which is kind of like these guys are just basically the cows of this world.
I get an Adventure Time feeling occasionally in this.
You know, you just buy a bunch of punch grubs and you herd them into the dungeon and trigger all the traps with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you use sheep when you can use these guys?
Yeah. Because they're so edible afterwards. That's why you would use them to trigger the traps.
Exactly. And you can get mounts, a giant riding beetle, or a bird, or another bird, or a large shark. We kind of know what a large shark is. These guys are actually better fighters to start than your characters.
Yeah, they are.
This is good because we have all played D&D, right? To get back to that again, where it's like, yeah, your horse has 20 hit points. Sounds good when you get it at 3rd level, but your horse will still have 20 hit points 10 levels later and die instantly to anything. Mm-hmm. Which is why high-level D&D parties, it's just like, no, the horses won't come back. We know the horses always die. Yeah, they do, because your rule system is terrible. Again, this 5 hit points for the big lizard is comparable to a high-level character. Mm-hmm. Pack Beast, the Snaggy Boompo, which I assume is a dog, but I am not sure. This is too close. He came too close to the camera. And we actually get the full pictures here, so...
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You know, oh, look at him. He's so chunky. Oh, I don't like him. I don't like him.
Oh, no. The face.
Why does he have a man face? It would be it's just so terrible.
Why was his face drawn like a Peanuts character? That makes it even more disturbing.
Probably goes wow, 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 for the noise he makes. And vehicle rules, buy a boat, buy a velocipede, a glider. Or buy a skimmer.
I like how they show the wizard on there.
Yeah, I love that it's a wizard, but it's just like literally like a VTOL kind of techno thing. The walker is also funny because I have 3 legs. It's fine. And then some other property. You could have a hut or townhouse or workshop, blah, 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 blah. You can pay for services. Like there's a lot here. They give you like a little bit, enough of the stuff that you can, as a DM, make up your own thing.
That's one thing I got to say about this is that, of course, I always want more, but this is one of the few games that I've looked at where it's like they give you enough to give you the idea of what is expected when coming up with your own stuff.
Yes.
Most games don't do that. They give you 3 examples, then kick you out the door and say, come up with your own stuff. This game gives you enough examples of what a pack beast should be and what you should do in making up your own pack beasts.
Yes. And here we have our advancement. I like that the cat becomes like a big cat at 7, and then it's an old cat at 10.
Yes.
Rank goes from 1 to 10. We already went over this. You get an XP for 1 hour. Each hour of play gives an XP. Doing other things gives you more XP. Like here's a reward list. Basically, converting a hit enemy into a true friend or ally is 3 XP. Defeating or pacifying some powerful numerous opposition, 1 XP, so on and so forth. So depending on the adventure, like obtaining great reward, blah blah blah, you might probably get like, say a 4-hour session, you get 4 XP for this, and then about 2 XP of achievement.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you're expecting a 20 to 30 adventure game to reach 10th level on off of these advancements.
Yeah.
Which I find it weird that the cat is then old, because it's probably not that much time.
No.
But
it became a night elf warden, so you know.
Be that as it may, that's how it works. And now we get to allegiance finally. What's allegiance? Well, you can either get good guy or bad guy points, and if you get enough of them, you get a little perk, which, you have feathers somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not really a perk so much as just a thing that happens to you. You have a halo, you have serpent eyes, you have luminous tattoos. Or conversely, if you're evil, you get horns, or opaque eyes, or a devil tail, or raptor talons, or bestial mane, or bone spikes. And that's it. That is all that it does if you get good or bad guy points. Just look good or bad. It doesn't really have any other game thing to it. You get bird feet. It gives you a fellowship penalty. But wouldn't it give you more? Like, wouldn't the eagles be more likely to fly you the fellowship to the mountain if they had bird feet, though? No, like, these things don't give you a penalty in the rules or bonus in the rules.
No, they don't.
You just get to look cool. This system is the most aborted, we ran out of time thing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Sorry to say it like this crassly, but there should be more to this. If I'm learning evil spells, it shouldn't just be like, I roll a d20 and now I have a melodious voice.
Yeah. Like, they wanted to do the thing that is the classic thing of, you do light things, you get light things, you do dark things, you get dark things.
Yeah.
But most systems that do that, they make it impactful.
Yes.
They don't just make it purely cosmetic.
As a pure, you roll on it, it's fine. But the game doesn't at any point that I've found give you like, this is what it also does. Like you just have basically an alignment. You were referring to the Rogue Trader 40k mutation. Oh god. Yeah, those 40k mutations get weird, yeah. But yeah, this is it. And now again we are at game basics, but we have already talked about these. You roll under your stats to do things, but you roll high to fight. Opposed rolls, you want to roll below your stat, but high number, because it's better to be high still on those for some reason. Could this be a half-finished abandoned alignment system? I don't think they need an alignment system in this, but I think they needed to have, if they have these points, if it's not just you can look like you have, like you want, you can have horns if you want, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
My bingo card didn't have a badly ordered chapter square. Oh, that should have been on it. We didn't think of that in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we go. We get on to the other, like to the meat of the system. This is a journey system, which spools off of other settlements, ports, adventure sites, what routes connect these, and how quickly can we move there? Because a good road doubles the speed at which you move. On foot, of course, this assumes on foot. So this is 1 day to get from the port to the town. And then we have a foothills area here, which is difficult terrain. So we got 1 day in the plains, and then half speed for the other 2 days. And we require navigation tools, and we require a guide, or to roll ourselves to find out if we're actually on the path still, because it's a fucking little path.
Mm-hmm.
And so on and so forth. And then you have difficult impassable terrain, which is even harder to navigate. And you have like maybe no road. I guess this is still like a path, but whatever. And then you must roll on these things, and you might get lost. You might like go to the wrong place. You might like go off the road, get back on the road. You might just do a big circle if you really fuck it up. This is very old school, but also more regulated than most. Like, this is what a DM will do behind the screen if you fuck up your survival roads in D&D. But they regulated it, which is kind of good. Yeah.
It's good. It's also similar to Ryutama.
Yes, indeed.
Except that you don't have a stat that is how well you're doing as soon as you embark upon your journey.
Yeah.
Which is one of the cool things about Ryutama is I like that your mood can start out shitty, and then as you go on your little quest and journey, happy things can happen to you along the way, and suddenly you end the journey with a better mood than when you began.
Yeah.
But that's one day we will do a thing on that.
Mm-hmm.
One day.
Yeah, you might have encounters on the map. You can hunt and forage. Like, there's a lot of rules. So this is where we get to the other thing in this game, right?
Yeah.
Everything in this game is actually regulated.
Yeah.
It writes down, if you forage, we find 6 rations in a plentiful area and 2 in a barren area, and so on and so forth. There isn't really variance that the DM is supposed to introduce. It's very rigid. Like, if you are the player and you read this, I want to hunt. Okay, I roll this, and if I do it, I get this much because we're in a plentiful area. And if I don't, then I have to ask the DM why the DM isn't playing by book rules, which is actually something I don't like about the system.
Mm-hmm.
There should be more variance in here and more like explicit allowance for the DM to do stuff that's interesting. Also means that doesn't leave space so GMs can guess, misbalance things wrong here. True, that is the converse. But I'm coming at this from the hope that your DM is good.
Yeah.
But this is a very Japanese thing that we have seen in other games.
Yep.
In Japan, having it to be rigid rules that you know the outcome of beforehand, basically, is something they really enjoy, from what I've seen. That is
Oh
why
yeah, they really enjoy that. Yeah.
that is why a lot of things are like this, because then you can be like, oh, Mr. DM, I would like to roll my thing, and I humbly suggest that because I succeeded in my roll, I get 6 rations because it is a plentiful area we're in. And then the DM is like, yes, thank you for rolling that. You are right, this is a plentiful area. I remember the rule. It is not a bad thing necessarily. I don't really vibe with this kind of thing, though, to put it bluntly. I think, yes, you avoid the boss fight more because your DM thinks it's funny that the crit on the hunting table should make you find the largest animal of the land. But you also avoid like the DM telling you, oh yeah, and besides the 6 rations, you also find like a bush of healing herbs that will give you the ability to help your friend with the injury. Because it just doesn't say that can happen.
Exactly. This is the kind of system that benefits really well from and then. There's no and then to this. Because we had like a whole chapter full of cool items and things. It's just totally the kind of game that would vibe really well with. And then you find cool item and thing because you went to plentiful area that also is in the jungle biome, which means you got 1d6 alchemical things for moist and damp alchemy things. Like it, if you're gonna go regimented, you either go all the way or you don't.
Yes.
And this is not all the way. Like this is only far enough to where it doesn't give me enough to spin off from.
Yes, I will.
It doesn't teach me.
I will agree with Ruggles, though. I'd rather have a rigid system you don't need to fix than a half-open one that demands the GMs to put work in before it can work. Yes.
Yep.
The hierarchy is clearly like at the bottom down here. We have the games that are just like, oh yeah, it's vibes, man. Just do whatever you want, lol. We don't know. Those games are terrible. Like there should be explanation, there should be expectation for the players. And then you have games like this, which are up here, which are like everything is regulated. You can follow our rules, and it will be a balanced game. And then you have games up here that do that as well, but then also give you way more tools to, as the DM, put more stuff in, put cool stuff in, and make it more interesting than the book tells you to make it. So, yeah, this is solid. I'm not saying this is terrible. I'm saying this is solid. I'm also saying it is maybe too solid and not like, it's not for me, this kind of game.
Yep.
I would much rather there be a little less rigidity and more ability to like make cool moments.
Yeah.
They also have different travel speeds, stuff like that. I like this though. I like this a lot. But it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sneak ahead. And then the skeleton says, hey, hello. We are dancing over here. It's not even really that they are going to fight. It's just like, hey, we found some skeletons. Oh no.
Yep.
The art in this again. Like the style is not always the best, but it is good art for sure. Like you look at this explore procedure start. Decide where you enter the site. The DM describes the area surrounding the adventure site as you approach, including any obvious entrances. You may even present you with a map. Choose an access point to enter the adventure site. Then allocate your PC positions: Vanguard, Observer, Rearguard, or Scout. Oh my god, we are going old school.
Yeah, very old school.
Choose a movement type: cautious, stealthy, or hasty. Movement location: choose your next location to and access point. If you're using stealthy movement, make the required insight and deftness check. Step 4, discover what's at the location. Your GM describes the location, including any visible access points to adjacent locations. Your GM will alert you to any visible guardian encounters located at the location. Choose your location actions. Once any immediate challenges and encounters have been dealt with, you must decide whether to inspect your current location, linger in it for a while, or move to a different location. If you inspect or linger, your GM will check to see if you have a wandering encounter. If you are not choosing an access point to leave the adventure site, return to step 2. Whee! So if you don't leave, you go, like, see how regulated I'm saying? Like, before that was kind of small potatoes. This is regulated.
Yeah, very much so.
You don't have to tell me about it. I just finished updating the spoils my players getting lost. That's Battletech game. Oh god, you're playing Battletech. Why not Lancer? Anyway, let's not open that can of worms. Like, this kind of stuff, yes, this procedure works. This is good for a first-time DM for sure to follow. This is also Answers Tomorrow. Oh my god, you're playing both? Oh my god. Okay, anyway. What if my dungeon doesn't have wandering encounters because it doesn't make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the simplest question I can ask here. What if my dungeon is empty and it's all about the traps in there? And there's one bad guy at the end or something, like, because that's the adventure I want to run, because I want the rogue to use his cool new ability to find traps better, or whatever the case may be. Like, there's so many ways in this, which this is too rigid. They show like how it works. So we would go to from the gate to the bailey. From the bailey we can go to here, here, or here, or here, and then there's like more places, and then you go up to the giant monkey with the skull face. Sure. This is a perfectly workable way to do this, but it's also kind of
It's very artificial.
Yeah. And then you have OD&D stuff again. Rearguard, Observer, Vanguard, Scout. Scout looks out for new things. Vanguard guards to the front. Observer actually pays attention to everything. And Rearguard pays guards to the back. And you can double up on these positions if you want, but you should have one each. Because they all do important things. It is very regimented. Very, very, very regimented. To a point where I think, again, it's too much. Why? If I choose Vanguard, can I not look at things? You know? It's obviously I can, but then I'm observing now, so there's no Vanguard position. So if something happens, then whatever Vanguard says happens when you don't have one happens, and oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
I explain also the movement types. These are kind of okay because, yeah, you can kind of move through the dungeon only so many ways. And you can even have the regimented location actions where it's like, oh, you inspect something, so we roll the table. You linger, we also roll the table, but you didn't even inspect anything. I don't know why you lingered, ever.
Yeah. It's a little weird.
Maybe linger is for, like, we linger here to do lick our wounds after a fight and stuff. That might count. And these are all you actually can then also move on. And so on. Wandering encounters versus side encounters, blah, blah, blah. Like, here's examples of what you might find. Why does everything have a terrible man face? I like this one because this guy's like, this is rolling a 1. Look at this face. Oh no. Where's his nose? Anyway. And then you have procedure to roll negotiate, which is a 6-step procedure, and then different ways to do it, which change that procedure, and then more of that, which is the fighting that comes next, and it's also just a procedure.
Yeah.
Kinda. They have the idea of like zones, where if you share an area, can melee. If there are people are away, then you have to like melee weapon, range weapon them, and they can move into your zone and so on and so forth. There isn't a minus for having a ranged weapon in melee combat, but it's like, yeah, that's how it goes. And then you could have different areas like these stepping stones. There might only 2 people might fit on the stepping stones. The rest must go in the bog, and the bog is poisonous, so they get like a suffocating and harmful condition from it. That kind of thing. And we are about to get to my favorite table in this whole thing. Favorite, and by favorite I mean least favorite. They regulate some actions, which is more fine because it's combat.
It's combat. Like if you don't, and we just have it be whatever.
Yeah.
We live in an era where it's okay to do all this.
Yeah. Like for combat, I get it the most because that is the part of the game that usually is the most regulated. I still enjoy games where it's like more free form, like again Shadowrun is one of them, where it's like, what do you want to do? You have 3 seconds time, do whatever you want. I'm curious, Nora, have you ever played Mage the Ascension? I have DM'd Mage the Ascension for a little bit. I want to play Mage the Ascension at some point.
And you will.
Yeah.
You definitely will.
I DM'd it, but my group back then didn't really warm up to it.
Yep.
They didn't warm up to any World of Darkness stuff. I played lots of Vampire LARP and Vampire in my life. I've been actively discussing Mage for the past 2 weeks. Yes, we have. Okay. And here we come to the injury table. So if you run out of hit points or hearts, you roll on the injury table. And here you can see your roll types that can happen to you. So you can, on your first wound that you take, you can just break your arm or break your leg or get knocked out, which is way better than breaking your fucking leg. Like, you're supposed to heal one injury per day of rest. How the fuck do you heal a broken leg in a day?
It's ridiculous.
And if it happens again on the same leg, it's severed, so it's just off. So here we come to the point where this whimsical anime game about like exploring a dungeon and where there's like a little ghost child you can talk to, and maybe you have to fight a moss-covered stone golem, comes to you getting your limbs severed and shit. Or get you like you've been splattered, disintegrated, or otherwise scrubbed from existence. Like you can't even be rest. Not that that's the thing in this game, really, outside of DM making it up. Yeah, this happens when you don't have hit points. This is the most whiplash in a long time I've gotten from a game.
Oh yeah, this is super whiplash. It could have been easily ameliorated by just going injured arm, or harmed arm, or something, not broken arm.
Like, I'm gonna go much further than this. I'm gonna say this sucks outright, because this is not really the tone this game has taken at all so far. I think if we look at Fabula Ultima, that's kind of where I like it, where it's, oh, you are 0 hit points, well, you are out of the fight, you are knocked out, you are whatever. If all the player characters get knocked out, they can choose if one of them dies to save them, or if they get captured.
Yeah, I love that.
Like, simple. And we don't really deal with, oh no, I broke both my legs and I got decapitated as well, so it doesn't matter that I lost my legs. But you know, like, why? Imagine, like, if we it's 260 is the page we're on, like, let's go like to the character pages, right? We have our sneak here. Imagine This guy getting into a fight with his 2 hit points at level 1.
Mhm.
And then just rolling bad and just getting his head cut off. First fight. Because you get hit twice and then you can roll that you are dead by the second time you take an injury. That's still a little more hit points than D&D, but that's not really what I expected here from a game where the characters look like they look like. I'm gonna be a cool guy and sneak around. Oh no, my arm! Ah! It burns! That's so bad! Oh, this character is getting disemboweled or something. I'm sorry, it doesn't really compute. Like, imagine if you watch like Howl's Moving Castle and then the castle just steps on a person and crushes them.
Yeah.
That is not the vibe you have been going for this whole time, game. Why are you like this now all of a sudden?
Yeah. It's like we were playing Studio Ghibli's like happy fun time. Now suddenly we're in oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Max Payne?
Yeah, suddenly, well,
I don't know.
The Max Payne is funny because it's exactly the tone that would be fine still because he doesn't lose his limbs. He just takes painkillers.
I thought about Max Payne, but you're the NPC.
Oh my god, that's actually very accurate. You're the mobster going,
oh,
you die horribly.
Yeah. Like what I think happened, okay?
Yeah.
What I think happened is this. This game is very OCR brained. So they were like, what happens if we're reduced to 0 hearts? They can't just die. Like, it can't just be like D&D where if you like get old D&D where if your hit points are gone, you're just dead immediately. Or maybe you get like a system shock roller, but probably you are dead, you know? No, let's make a more forgiving system. Let's make it so you're only dead after you take 3 more damage. Or 4 more damage, technically. Like, you can survive 3 of these rolls, but the 4th one will kill you.
Yeah. The 4th one is death every time, yeah.
It's like, it is more forgiving than old school D&D, but that's not really what you should have aimed for with this.
No, I don't think so, no.
Like,
now I remember what I was trying to say. I was trying to say, it's like they're presenting you Studio Ghibli's Happy Fun House, but then you get Lamentations of the Flame Princess the moment you take a hit.
Yeah. Blades in the Dark Levels of Consequences.
Oh no, you get so stressed out you run away from the fight, yeah.
Like, yeah, no, they have also rules for treating these injuries you're taking, but and they've grafted your arms and legs back on rules as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
they do.
Yeah, that's not. It really feels like they just wanted to. They just had to, in the heart of hearts, use the OCR rules for everything and then make them better for what they wanted. But they couldn't really change the nature of it. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Because that's the thing about OCR is that, like, the further you move away from it, the more likely it's just not going to be OCR anymore. So there's a certain number of things, like 5 to 12 things that you need to do in order to keep it OCR.
Yeah. They have rules for destroying like non-living things then next, which is fine. They have rules for fighting the big monster, which different parts of it have their own hit points, which is also kind of cool. Actually, I like this system quite a bit. It should be something other games could take on. Where, yeah, if we defeat the tail, then it can't tail whip us anymore. And if we defeat the legs, then it can't stomp on us anymore. But it's still not defeated. It can still like swipe its tusks at us and spit lava. So yeah, just whittle this monster down over time. Like, it's cool.
Yeah, I like that stuff.
Like, this is like, again, total whiplash, because this rule I actually think is pretty genius.
Oh yeah, I really like this.
Yeah, Where it's like, yeah, okay, the head probably, like if you defeat the head, probably you win. But also defeating the head probably not easy because look where you are right now. Can't even attack it from here. People can shoot at the head. This is why this girl jumps very high here. And then we have some perils like falling down and burning, which interestingly enough, these don't attack your hearts because again your hearts just don't matter because you always get them back for combat. No, you get like basically other types of wounds.
Yeah.
Like yes, as we see, falling injury gives us critical injuries immediately. Like I fell 30 feet. I rolled a 19. Quiet death. Sorry, but what the hell?
Yes, this is OCR brained. This is my very first character I ever played, falling out of a window and just dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Thank you. You've simulated it again way too many years later. Wow.
Like ballooned, blinded, deafened, cheaped. Oh no, we're gonna go to another page. Jellified, like these halves your might and defense. Right, you move slow. Like you can get lots of conditions that are bad. You can also be tied up, which can be hungry, suffocating. And then they give some healing rules, some crafting rules here, identifying stuff. You like roll on certain things and you learn stuff. It's not that deep, but it's good that it's here.
Yeah, it works.
Because D&D needed its own fucking book to put that in because you can be a blacksmith, you can have the tools, but you don't know how it works until another book comes out.
Yep. It's so bad.
They do have,
this works.
Yes, Margaret, this is the author's barely disguised fetish in some cases. It is, really is.
Very much so. Very much so.
Expense. Then we have a social bond thing where you gain a bonus. If you have a social bond with somebody, you gain a bonus to your rolls because it's motivating you. Kind of reminiscent of other rules that we've seen in this kind of thing. And reputation is the converse where you're like known somewhere, but it might help or hinder you. Or you might be able to change your reputation in a place. Yes, it's true, Waggots. It is pretty good it is good that they use these icons and stuff. You can quickly find what you're looking for. Like, the layout in this is good. No question, except that they put these dice. I really am triggered more and more by them. Crafting different things, like alchemical crafting and so on. Cooking, forging, like all of the rules are here. This game is gives you everything you need for sure. I'm not gonna go into it though. Like they have rules for like finding special metals and stuff which you could sell, but you could also use them for your crafting. Like if you find the grime goo, it might be useful for I guess cooking maybe or for alchemy.
Yeah, or goo from other musicians.
Yeah. God damn. I like how many things they describe.
Yeah, that's the most important part here for me. Is most things like this will give you 3 examples and then kick you out the door. This doesn't do that, and that's what we need. We need games that are willing to give us 20 examples.
Yep. And then they explain imbued objects, which are like magic items.
Yep. That is one of the things about this game is that it is OCR brained in that most of the magic items you're going to craft.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an advantage in one way because the whole exploration system, all the other systems of like looking through an area and so on play into that. All of them do. They all work together to make that work. Whereas in D&D 5e, if they tell you, well, you need this rare object for this thing, they don't tell you what rare objects exist, what rare even means, and then don't give you the exploration rules that go with finding the rare object.
Yep.
So it's completely pointless to say you could do it this way. At least give us not necessarily train tracks,
Exactly.
but maybe a general direction to go.
And like this cost breakdown here, right? It's evocative because materials 300. Well, I could find them. I don't have to pay the material costs. Additives, same thing. And then crafting commission. Well, if I make it myself, it's essentially free. Woo!
Yes, you nailed it.
You know, that's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm. They understand in this book that there are visual people, there are people that want to read a text block, and then there are people who just want to see that math right there in front of them.
Yeah.
It appeals to all of those people.
Yep. And then they give you a lot of like mishaps that can happen too. This is cool for like, again, informing your DM about like possible things. Again, this is something like, what does D&D give us? Oh, you didn't do it good. You failed at crafting the sword. So you waste half your materials. That's it. And crafting has always been rather an afterthought in D&D, but 5 doesn't really have that, right? Alexa, so both 5e and 5.05 coming out, which just came out, have basically no crafting rules. And if they do, they are very basic. And it's also like most of the crafting you can do is useless. Because their rules say, oh, you want to make a magic item? Well, stick around for a year because it's going to craft like 10 gold per week. Or something stupid like that. And so the price is going to be, we don't know magic item prices, but it's going to take months to make the item. So there's never a moment in the game where you actually have the time, because D&D also lives off of the idea of, man, we have a campaign to do. We have to defeat the Dragon Conclave, whatever, Chroma Conclave. We have to fight Vecna on the top of a temple, because otherwise the world will end. So there's never a moment, or rather a few months of time, where you can just craft yourself your +1 weapon, which, by the way, is also not even useful anymore for what you're doing in the game. But in this, like, I think the intended way to run this is, hey guys, let's explore the wilderness.
Yeah.
Like, I have prepared 10 locations which you can find. Let's explore around. There isn't an overarching bad guy. You just can find stuff and be cool guys and maybe make a town somewhere or something.
I mean, that's why it said scenario instead of story is the
focus. Exactly.
Which, it can work. Yeah. Like, you can just be people who want to be more than just the guy who hangs out at the bar.
Like in this now, because we are getting to like towards the end of this section. Yeah, actually, there we are. They now explain the outer world here, which is essentially like, you know, this give you the continents, explain them real quick. We're not going to go into it because I think I don't want to spoil it, honestly. It's well written. It's like not long blurbs, but there's enough here that you can sink your teeth into, and that will give you a little something.
It's all evocative once again, rather than specific.
You have a DM section, which is overall not the longest, but it is well done, good enough for what they want you to do in it.
For what they want you to do, it tells you what to do. Yeah. Oh, also to more fully answer you, Alexter, crafting was not an afterthought in 3rd edition and in 4th edition. In both 3rd edition and 4th edition, they gave specific gold piece costs for every single magic item, and then also told you what you got to do in order to make them yourself.
Yep.
What feats, whatever you needed to do it. And then in 5th edition, they decided we're going to just crap our own pants and forget about it.
Yep.
Like, they had really good rules for it in 4th edition, especially, and they just decided no.
Like what this section has is a way. Like, sorry to get back to this immediately, but I agree with what you said.
No, you're good.
As like the random tables to generate like places that if you maybe not thought about it, but there's like you want there to be a town, you can roll what kind of town it is.
Yep.
Examples of adventure sites. and so on and so forth. Like it gives you the needed things to do what you like, what should be done. Like, and you can find this. This is very Zelda now.
Yep, it is very Zelda. And they also provide the whole, hey, this is what you should be saying. Here's your first impressions of the thing, and here's what thing happens if you inspect it. And yada yada, bing bing boom. Like it gives you everything you need. A lot of modern products don't do that, with especially exploring an adventure site. If you go into room number 37 of Strahd's Banner, they don't tell you, hey, by the way, there's like 12 iron pokers for the fireplace upstairs in here. They don't give you that level of detail anymore.
Yep. Again, like they explain how they want you to run this, which is basically I have a area, and then let the players loose on it.
Yeah.
And
very sandboxy.
There you go. And then we have adversaries. Like this is how you stat out the enemies. Basically, we're not. Honestly, I just want to talk about like how I would want to run this game.
Yeah.
If I were ever going to run this game, I have a very specific idea for it. And I think it is in my opinion, because obviously I'm right, it's the best way to do it. So you would make up an area together with your party of players. Be like, okay, there's like 2 towns. One of them is a harbor where you all come in because you are from different places, right? So let's do this. And well, I have prepared like a few dungeons around. There's some other villages of like more isolationist people you can find and befriend, stuff like that. And then your characters just explore and have fun. There you go. Then you play that. Some people die, some people become level 10. And then you fast forward to playing the grandsons and granddaughters of those people or something. Or like maybe not those people directly, but people they knew. Like maybe the old witch did have a daughter. Stuff like that. And then the old characters can still be there, but they're just occupied with other things. And then those people 2 generations later, they can go on a new map that is reminiscent, but not the same because stuff changes. Maybe the first part you also didn't explore everywhere.
Yeah, good point, actually.
And then you do that like maybe 1 or 2 more times. And then it's probably a really memorable long game.
Yep.
And then you could even have like an overarching story over those times where your grandfather found a key but never found out where it's true, and now your like adventure hook is to find the lock for that key. It must be in the north, in the mountains somewhere, kind of thing. And then after you do that, I think probably, unless there's more content for this game in other books, there's more classes and stuff, that would be where my group, any group I can imagine, would be done with this.
Yep.
Because again, there's out of 8 classes. Do you want to play all 8? Probably not.
No, probably not.
And do
probably
you want
at most 3?
Yeah,
and that's it.
Do you want to play class twice? Probably not.
Ooh.
It might even be the case that if someone played a class really good at the table, you don't want to play it after them, because you don't want to fill those large footsteps. But yeah, is that worth it for you? I think it depends if you like this style of game.
Yeah.
I think if you like the exploratory, what are we going to find around the next corner thing, which hasn't necessarily gotten like a story structure like a classic adventure, then this is great. I could really get behind this, actually. Like, I don't mind those kind of stories where it's just like, hey, we found a bunch of ore. I guess I could make something out of this. Like, I really like that for my characters in games, when they just are able to be, like, make themselves useful in that way.
Oh, yeah.
Rules-wise, this is too OCR for me, though. Like, it is not really my kind of rule set in the end. But I would play it. I have played so much D&D where it's not really my kind of thing. I would totally play this. I know.
Like,
I've been listening to Mr. Welch go on about how 5e took on the exploration of the game. So yeah, I can feel it. Yeah, there's no pillar for it anymore. The Ranger is such a weak class because there is no exploration pillar in D&D. What were you? Yeah, what were you gonna say? Sorry, Drake.
oh, here's what I would do.
Hmm.
It's very similar to your idea, except I would be appealing to the modern person who wants to do nothing but imitate an anime of some kind. I would just literally run a dungeon meshy game with this.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it can work.
And have all of the adventure sites you go to be different parts of the dungeon.
You know, actually, that's such a good point because dungeon meshy. That's actually the tone this sets to a T.
Yes.
Because Dungeon Meshi is going to be like, ooh, whimsically, let's put on the mushrooms, the lizard suit, so we can go through the mushrooms. And then the next moment, somebody gets domed by a water sprite and killed. And then they have to rest them. But I guess that game does have healing magic. Yep. So, but still, yeah, this is very Dungeon Meshi. You're so right, actually.
Yeah, this would work perfectly for that because Fabula Ultima works for Dungeon Meshi, sure. But there is a lot of OCR laden into a Dungeon Meshi with its attitude of things. Because just look at the characters and how they know stuff and how them knowing stuff helps them, but it doesn't help them enough all the time.
Yeah.
Which is so OCR brained because there's that one kid at the table who read the whole monster manual, but he's a player and he's not the DM.
Yes.
But he only half remembers it. So he's constantly fascinated by the fact that, oh, wait, no, gelatinous cubes actually do this? That's so fascinating as he's being half digested. Like,
yes. Oh, God.
That's the perfect tone for this. They even have an ability that goes along with that. Like, it's
you could combine
whimsical, but get domed.
Yeah, you could combine our ideas where it's like they set up a town in the dungeon eventually, and then the next generation goes deeper or something.
Oh yeah, and then you could have one player who plays the really, really old sage who is training a new sage, but like has to deal with the fact that she didn't really get to say goodbye to the human warrior that she used to, or excuse me, human champion she used to travel with.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we also have to include Freerin for some reason.
Yes.
No, that works too. Like, it's just, there's a lot you can do with this.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of game that, so there are games that are designed that don't really work well with having new things bolted onto them. Fabula Ultima is great for having things bolted onto it.
Oh yeah.
Classic D&D, any OCR is too. This is in that category. This is the what are the 3 expansion books? Is there Break 2? Is there Break 3?
Actually, I know I haven't looked this up. Is there more content for this game?
Because this is the one that would that makes you go, is there more content?
I should probably add TTRPG to this. Products, break TTRPG. Let's look on their website. Physical products back in stock soon. I should probably not have them blocked. So let's see. So they do have at least one more book I can see here.
No, that's the new Aeon edition. What?
Am I missing, like, hello? What this? Everything I need in one book? Oh, it's the same. It's the same book.
It's the same book. It's just the the different cover, the gorgeous edition.
So, in a word, we don't have anything else. We have a starting adventure, and we have the core book.
That's unfortunate, because this is the kind of game that lends itself very well to, hey, pick up these 19 PDFs that are all 32 pages each, that each have a new class. Like, this is perfect for that.
Is this actually different? Like, no, it's not, right?
No.
If they still tout the award, it must be the same thing. Probably maybe some slight alterations in it, but yeah. It's even the same page number.
Yeah, same page number. I'm guessing they just corrected a few things.
So there you go. They made. So okay, I'm gonna be real. This charitable here. If I made $500,000 off of this book, I would also reprint it.
I would too.
Like good on these two people for like hitting it like out the park like that. But yeah, again, like what this game misses the most is just more content.
Yeah,
it needs more classes, and some like more choices. But otherwise, it does what it wants to a T pretty well. Yeah.
Oh no, Nura, I found out why those dice are on the side of the page.
Yes.
I found their blog. The reason why is if you don't have a die handy, you just flip to a random page and there's your result.
Oh no, really? Okay, that's actually smart.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh, somebody has memorized this. Somebody has memorized it. There's a red 9 on page 6. Oh, but okay, I don't mind that though. That's actually smart. That's actually smart. I don't mind that. Now,
Okay.
I would still prefer them to not be there, but okay, I'll live with it.
So their very first supplement. Let's see here.
You know, I want to say that like old school Nora would have totaled up the numbers of all the dice.
Oh yeah.
To know if they are averaged or not.
Yeah.
Because then I can be like, I want to roll the green one every time because green is like an average of 12 or something. I don't know. And yeah, I agree. Like that's actually a good idea. It still triggers me that they are there, but okay, you can play this game without dice technically. Like in 2023 when this came out, that should be your least concern because everybody has dice in 2023. But okay, sure, yeah, it's not a bad idea.
It's one of those like Easter egg value adds rather than an actual value add.
What did you want to ask, Waggles? Because yes, of course you can ask a question.
Yeah, ask anything, Waggles. Also, the other thing, their blog has like new stuff that they've come up with. So like all the new stuff is like from their blog and it's free stuff. So
it's the blog, dev blog here.
Yep, there you go. Like they have like example settings. They have, hey, if you want to do a famed performance, here's new races, here's monsters to fight. Like
all right. So
they're doing it very old school.
My main gripe about that is it's probably a nightmare to find anything here.
Yeah, that's the big problem. What they need to do is just grab a bunch of their free stuff, put them in PDFs, and then just put them somewhere.
Bagels asked, what's the TTRPG system you know with the best home base building system? So honorable mention to Shadowrun for having the advanced home building rules or lifestyle building rules.
Yeah.
Which is as close as you can get to that.
Because if you expand those further, they become a good base building.
Yeah, because Shadowrun, like you do have to do the legwork if you want to make it base building, but then you basically like have a group connection that is the base, blah blah blah. But that's not really what game? Vampire also gets a mention, or World of Darkness in general, because there's a lot of perks just about, oh, I have this much money, I have this much of a business, I have this many allies, and so on and so forth. That kind of creates a life more so than a base, because Vampire isn't so much about making a base. Are you specifically asking about like, oh, we're building our own little fort in the wilderness kind of situation, or is it more abstract? For example, yes, okay. Actually, okay. Trixie, do you have a good one, Trick?
I have a couple of others. Okay. So Mage the Ascension had a book that was literally just called the Book of Chantries.
Oh yeah, which true.
It's just a book that's just about building a chantry. So in other words, a home base, complete with rules and point system and yada yada yada. Never really used it, but apparently it's really good. So there you go. There's other World of Darkness stuff in that same arena. I know that Changeling at one point was obsessed with doing that to the point where you could have castles and stuff. I know that there was Palladium had a castle building system that was really good. I don't remember the details because it was so long ago when we used it.
Oh god, Palladium, yeah.
But it was good in that it was thorough. Like it had everything. So it wasn't one of those situations where you were constantly asking, but what if I want to put it in a dungeon? It had that listed. Yeah, Werewolf the Forsaken put a lot of emphasis on maintaining a territory. I know that some of the other Chronicles of Darkness games had a lot of little details about that kind of thing too. But it was like spread across 20, 30 books. So it's really hard to find all that information and put it together. Trying to think of another one. One of the expansions for the Fallout TTRPG has base building. I don't remember which one it is. It might have been the one that's about the West Coast, because they sat down and they said, "Hey, here's how you can build a settlement," and then they went from there. Settlers, yeah, that's the one. Yep, I glanced through it. I didn't really read through it in detail. It felt like it didn't have enough options, so.
Yeah. The Firefly game kind of expects you to have your ship, and you spend a lot of time on that.
Oh yeah, Firefly. Yeah, that's a good one actually.
We didn't really get into that when we talked about the system, but yeah, that game, the ship is its own character in that game.
Yeah, and that's your base too. So yeah.
Let me look at what other games did we cover yet. Maybe some of them are just not in my mind right now. I have a list somewhere, don't
I? If you add on the expansions, the Game of Thrones TTRPG, if you want to run a domain, that one was pretty good because the expansion book for it basically went into detail about every possible kind of medieval facility you could add on to that. Problem is, though, it's the Game of Thrones system, so better to mine for ideas than to actually just use.
Yeah, true. I guess Song of Ice and Fire definitely would have stuff like that. Dune as well, 2D20 systems. You build your house or your castle / domain in those. But it's not like you're building them up, it's more like you're defining them and then have to keep them for the most part. Continuum technically has civilization building section once it becomes a single player game. Honorable mention or dishonorable mention, I guess, more like.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that.
Feng Shui also expects you to have a base at some point, but it doesn't have a lot of rules beyond, it should be a Feng Shui site so you get points. Blades
Twilight 2000 4th edition, the one from Free League, that has base building.
True.
I totally forgot about that.
But I don't think it's good. It sucks because Twilight 2000. Much the same as Blades in the Dark has a base building section, but it's based in the dark, so you don't want to play it.
Yeah. In both cases, with the case of Twilight 2000, the base building is too threadbare. Like there's not enough options for you to even get ideas from it.
Golden Sky Stories is another one where I'm like, yeah, that's a great scenario builder. There's not really so much building a base though. Dallas is all about building your base. Once more, Dallas wins. Who could have thought?
And yeah, Blades in the Dark, it's not really base building.
You know what? MechWarrior technically actually does it pretty well.
Oh yeah, it does.
Because you like have all the salvage mechanics and shit to get your mechs up to speed and tinkering with your mechs and so on and so forth. It's just that one fails on being too much of a little finicky bastard.
Yeah.
Call of Cthulhu.
And also as part of this, I'm
Oh.
trying to mention things that are good to mine for ideas.
I found it. It's Vaesen.
Oh yeah, Vaesen.
Because Vaesen has a whole section about building your like secret society up back again.
Yep.
And like making deals and so on about that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it is called Vaesen with an AESEN. I'm going to post it here. It is a game where you, it is Industrial Revolution, and the old spirits are unhappy about that, and your job is kind of to appease them or defeat them.
Mm-hmm.
Very horror-y. Norse like mythology stuff.
It is also the same system as Free League's Twilight 2000 4th edition.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
So a lot of their games that use that system will incorporate some kind of base building, society building, ship building mechanic.
Yeah, I want to say that when I said Twilight 2000 terrible, I talked about what we reviewed, which is like.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
but even then, the 4th edition doesn't have enough on base building, sadly.
Yeah, so I think Vaesen is up there. I think Golden Sky Stories is up there because you really interact with every bit of your town eventually. Mech Warrior applies technically. You could run a Lancer game or Mech Warrior where you have to salvage stuff, which would be interesting. Many games don't really leave this to GM Fiat Waggles. Yeah. Which I think there's really a like not so much a glaring hole, but there is a demand, I think, for games that include those rules a lot more. And Break kinda does, but more so because Break, again, like the way it's structured, it just wants you to do a lot of stuff yourself, tinker, have downtime. It's kind of, yeah. Actually, that's its strong suit, arguably. Like, again, I don't vibe with the injury rules. I would probably kick those out even if I ever play this and do it differently. But if you do that, honestly, this game is solid as fuck for an exploratory game. And you can take or leave the very highly regulated like procedures that they have. There's nothing wrong with following the procedures, but I think a good DM will have enough ideas to add on to them that they should totally do that, you know?
Waggles, Pathfinder 1st edition has a buildings builder system, as well as a settlement building system, as well as you get it. Like they have something for all of that. Are they good or bad? They're kind of not terrific, but at the same time, they're a good jump-off point.
Oh yeah, Dark Eye technically has like a house building system with money costs.
Oh
in
yeah,
one of the later books, like not in the core book, but it exists somewhere in the unhollow halls of Dark Eye. But yeah, no. Honestly, you can't go wrong with running Break in that manner. Just build your little fort up, and then there becomes a town around it as you become higher level.
Honestly,
I
that'd
really
be fun.
That's the angle I would do with I would run with this. Coming in today into this discussion, I was kind of gonna on the side of I'm kind of cold on this game, but actually, if you do that and take out the injury mechanics, like make wounds work differently, just any way to make them work differently. I'm happy to play this like a few times. And then the value proposition for this is pretty okay, because like, what does these books cost? What did their Kickstarter want for this? I'm not sure if you can still see. Probably, right? Should be still on the side, like how many people put what number in. $20 for the digital version, $45 for physical plus digital. And 60 for the limit. Oh, see, they had this. Oh.
Oh, that was the limit.
Oh, it was always so. It isn't even a new book. It's just the same book, but with a different cover, with alternate cover and more monies.
Yeah, with the attractive slipcase and everything.
I also want to say, good on this Kickstarter for not having 5,000 the 10,000 pound tier, where you get to dine with the producers and then kiss their feet or something. Like, how much out of 10 would I give this again with the I was gonna get to this now because
let's get to that.
Okay, value proposition 45 for this is all in one game. 45 pounds, so 60 euros dollars. Valid. If I get 60 game sessions out of this before it kind of becomes a bit stale, with assuming one group, right? I could DM for more than one group the same game. That's like 60 times 4, that's 240 hours. That's a good value proposition. It's great.
Yeah.
It's
That's
amazing.
better than Fallout 4. So yeah.
That's a lot better, yeah. And even if I'm running just one campaign to level 10, that's 200. That's like I said, 200. That's that time. If you can run more than one campaign to level 10, that's even better of a value proposition. So there you go. That's good. So my personal, as written, I give this a 6 out of 10. With slight tweaks, like taking the wound system out and running it not completely rigid. Also, it's an 8 for me. Like, again, I just can't imagine. Like, look at this party. After the first encounter, this guy's dead.
Yeah.
This guy,
sorry, man, is dead.
Missing an arm, and this girl, like, broken arm and an eye patch.
Yes,
and he's
she would be part of Studio Ghibli.
Yes. And he's somehow unscathed. like because of the unforgiving wound systems. It also kicks your ass harder early on because you don't have you never have many hit points. But since there isn't a way really for anything to do more than 1 or 2 damage, the later levels just have way more of a buffer before it becomes a problem. Like if you have 7 hit points at level 10 or 9, that's a lot different to having 3. Obviously. See Elf Lady on the cover not have any underwear on. Nope. Far as we can tell, it writes very high or there is no underwear. I mean, far as we know, nobody has underwear on this cover.
That's part of the value proposition, Wags.
Yeah. Like, this guy does not wear underwear. This guy does not care. And this guy had to rush to work today. So no one has underwear on.
Exactly.
So Drake, what's your... would you agree with me, about the numbers, firstly?
Honestly, it really depends on the group I'd be running it for. If I ran this for people who are busy people that just wanted to do something that's fun, that's clearly a ripoff of Dungeon Meshi, 7 out of 10 actually.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because they would get the value, I would get the value, we'd all get the value.
Yeah.
And it would be just playable and replayable enough to where we'd play maybe 2-3 campaigns max, and then that's it. We're done. We've gotten all we wanted out of it. We're never playing it again. If there were more options, if there were more this, that, if it was supported more, if the wound system was changed, a couple other glaring things, then it would be, I would give it a 8.5.
Yeah.
Because I do like OSR stuff quite a bit. I do like exploration, and I'll be real with you. The recent stuff with a lot of tabletop things, with interacting with NPCs and so on, having a list of things that the player can say, I'm going to speak to them in a Tutti Frutti sort of way, or whatever. I don't remember what the options were. It helps all of us tired, busy people who are not quite sure what to say to the NPC in the moment.
That's fair. That's
and that
actually
actually
super
adds
fair.
something in this case.
This one I would add as well. This is a good first timer game.
Yes, that's the other reason why I rated it higher.
It also it won some sort of family game award, and I understand that because this is a good game for kids. Because hey, I want to go over there. Let's look at the big tree. Oh, is there stuff in the big tree? Dad flips to the page about the stuff you can find. Yeah, there's like some core ember or whatever. I don't know. Like it works for that especially well, in my opinion. Like because of the rigidness of it, if you run it as written, like very advanced players might kind of bounce on it. There's a gnome village. Oh, perfect. We step on it. It's lots of XP. Yeah. I would be with you there. And also, like, to give them some slack. This book was delivery date November 2023. I'm not sure if they hit the date or like it came out later. I'm not sure if we can even find out off the book. I didn't research this, but my like it did come out in 2023, I guess. So I guess they were on time. Let's just assume. So they have had less than a year to bring out more content for this.
Yeah, that's why I'm being very charitable on that front, because it's like, if it's just two guys, I get it.
Like imagine also if you had like written all this stuff and then also the other person had done all this art, and now they're like, well, we made a lot of money off of this. Let's take a break. We worked quite hard probably on this fucking thing. Let's take a break for a bit and then figure out how to reprint it, which is what they're doing right now. And then after that, you can have additional books, because if you do a reprint of your core book and it's back on shelves, then you can get like new people buy it, and then there's more hype for your other thing. Makes sense. Also, please bring us something out and get in competition with 5.05, dear writers of this. So yeah. And again, all this misses really would be like 8 more classes. Maybe additional stuff. Just write some more stuff you can find. Doesn't like the rules are all there. You don't need more rules.
Really don't. No. That's part of also my value proposition, is that if this was a more complex system, if it had a lot more moving parts, yada yada, etc., it would be harder to bolt stuff onto it. Like, after us just reviewing it today, I could confidently just build 8 more classes for it.
Yeah, totally. Like the only thing you would be missing is like the good idea for like 8 archetypes, but that's not that hard to come up with just in the moment.
It's not that hard.
Like I couldn't. Like one thing I would maybe say is like there isn't really a class dealing with old technology. The Sage a little bit, but not really. So maybe that would be interesting. I would maybe add some sort of elementalist person that could do something with like depending on the weather or like what elements around them, kind of thing. Then just come up with more stuff. Like
see, it's easy. Like it writes itself is what I'm probably trying to say. Unlike other games that we've reviewed, where it's just like, if we did actually sit down and play Continuum, how the fuck would we expand upon this? We don't. That's the answer. Whereas this begs to. Fabula Ultima begged to be expanded upon as well. And I think that the games that people should be trying out that are supposed to be the competitors with D&D 5e is the ones that feel like they can be expanded upon. Because there are plenty of games that we've looked at that, okay, how much more stuff can we really release for a basin? Probably not very much. Because it's a very narrow field. But the possibility is there. It's just they're not going to do it.
Obviously.
But something like this, they could.
Any game can have adventures released, but we are talking specifically about like rules content.
Yeah, crunch and options and But that's what I would say. Okay, so are we to the favorite, least favorite?
Yeah, the favorite, least favorite. Let's go.
All right. Blah, blah, blah.
Let's start
I'm not going to
with
say the art.
Let's start
gonna
with
say the art.
favorite first. Yeah.
Yeah. Not going to say the art because that's too easy.
Mm-hmm.
That's way too easy. My favorite part of this. Okay, this is going to sound weird. They stuck to their guns. They said they were going to do something. Okay, they didn't actually say it, but it was obvious that they were going to set out to do something very OSR, and they stuck to it. They didn't say, "Hey, we need to add this special mechanic because we need to deviate. We need to make it more anime by adding a special mechanic." They never did that. You roll under for your skills. You roll over for your attack rolls. Very OSR. Here are your exploration rules. They just stuck to it. They didn't deviate from that. Other games like this, they have the weird rule that they throw in that make it suddenly not fitting with the theme. But yes, there is whiplash with the injury rules, but still fits with everything else, regardless of the whiplash.
And again, it's more forgiving than original D&D was.
It was?
Yeah. Here's my favorite is honestly the layout.
Oh god, the layout's
because
so good.
It is really solid. It is really easy to read. You can always follow the things like, oh, this is a thing, this is a sub thing to the thing. This is requires a does it require definition? Yes, you have to like question mark die icon means you have to roll something. Like after I read this a few times, I wouldn't even need to read the rest of the text. I was no. And then layout is great on this.
The little pictures help so much because there are so many people who are just purely visual and they can't read all the text very quickly. So skip to section. Oh, there's the foot. That's the rogue ability thing.
Yeah. It's also, I feel like someone really thought about this because, as an example, Lancer's weakest bit is the layout of the core book.
Oh,
because it is very difficult to find what you're looking for in Lancer. Like we collectively spent a lot of time flipping pages in that book because it's like, well, where were the guns again? Oh god, they were in a subsection of something, but that wasn't equipment. Shit, and then you like go crazy. But in this, it works. Also, like Lancer uses those weird icons for damage, and you can't search for it because of that.
And they're too small. Those icons are too small.
Yeah. So the layout. I wish every book was this well laid out. What is your least favorite thing?
The injuries is too easy, so I'll pick something else. My least favorite thing is how hard it's tied to something ephemeral. A lot of games that we reviewed, we love this passion project of this setting that's so awesome and so cool and blah blah blah. This kind of begs for a setting that you feel in every page of the book, but you kind of don't because it's kind of like, when I say ephemeral, I mean like it's a setting that can be any setting, but it could also be no setting at the same time.
Yeah, I would agree there. Like the setting in this, there is a setting, they did write it.
Yeah,
and it's evocative, but it's not really detailed in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's intended for you to put whatever set piece you want in it, rather than it to be a defined, hey, this is the lore, get invested, it's Eberron, but with everybody is Kiki's delivery service. Like there's nothing like that I can point to, except that, it's anime, and it's JRPG, and it's Zelda, and it's Wizards, and
Yes. Meanwhile, I have cheekily page down my way to my least favorite part of the game, which is the cheap.
Yeah, sheeps. Yep.
But you know what my least favorite part about the least favorite part is?
Yeah.
We have a baby picture, right? Like for humans, we have the little child picture, not necessarily baby. Is the baby the same size as as the adult?
Yeah.
Why? I fucking hate it. How do the cheaps, are they like What is that bird that lays giant eggs for its size?
Oh no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Oh God. I didn't even think about that.
Like how is baby formed in sheep society? I don't, and no, I don't answer. I actually don't want to know.
Oh.
Like, I know why it's here, but you should have maybe disguised this one fetish you had, dude.
Please.
You didn't have to put Lalafell into it. You already have the cat boys.
I already have the cat boys.
Yeah, that's it. That's my least favorite. So Drake, I know I said we're gonna announce next game a week before, but I realized that only gives me a week of time to read.
Yeah,
So...
that's silly. So it needs to be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We did last. We did Firefly. I'm looking through my things.
Please do. I've sadly have not found the game I want to review next. I told you what it is.
Is this? Pick another modern one.
Just going down these to look at the pictures.
I'm just making sure that this is a complete book that I have.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it is a complete book. This game has a few spin-offs of it. I have the space version of it. Ironsworn Starforged.
The fuck is that? Let me Google that for you real quick.
Please Google that.
Oh, sci-fi game was always a bonus.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
There are many different spin-offs of this, I think, or maybe there's just a couple. But this is the science fiction one. I know there's a Viking one also.
Ooh.
The art is really good in the core book.
Photo manipulation. I'm not really into that, but it looks like quality is good, certainly. Yeah, okay. That's what we're doing in 2 weeks' time, folks.
Yep.
And
this is a category we don't normally do. This is also a game that you can play alone.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm curious now how that would work.
Yeah.
You know, it might work like D&D 505 wants to work, where they have their chatbot tell you that you found 20 gold. But probably that's not what you mean, so...
Nah.
Who do I rate? Oh, did Kumi just start? I'm gonna rate Kumi if Kumi just started.
Let me just start.
Yep, 1 minute. That's actually maybe too early. Let's see if they're already streaming fully. Stream starting in 3.5 minutes. We also have... Wait. Mimikyu gave us the game, right?
What?
Mimikyu gave us break, right?
No, Mihifu.
Mihifu. Fuck. Right. My brain was just short-circuiting. I know it was Mihifu. It was like,
No.
You've been talking for 3 hours.
This is another one of those where we started out tepid, then we're like, hey, we're actually kind of hype.
Yeah. Could also rate Sayo. Let's see. Yeah, because Sayo is full life, where the other person is like winding up, and I don't know how long it will take. Rating Sayo.
Yeah. I'm always afraid to rate into somebody when they're winding up, because there have been a few that I've rated who had a false start, where they're just like, wait, I don't want to start.
Or just 10 minutes of not doing a stream, but then you sit there after anything. Anyone here? Hello, help me. Okay, folks, we are back on Monday with... I'm back on Monday with Waggles. Do you have any plans, Drake?
The current trajectory is for Neon Blood to return in October.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. October 7th.
Nice.
So.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yes, and Waggots and I will continue our Disco Elysium playthrough. Where we are actually at the church with Egghead.
Yes!
And I can't wait for Waggots to get in the church for a thing. Anyway, I shouldn't spoil. So,
no.
See you all soon, folks. Have a good one, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Stream is now...